Is it on the, yeah, it's on collegiate. This might be my new favorite way to troll my stream. Oh wait, I should mute up, huh? Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the CBA Collegiate Battlegrounds Association. We have week 2 about to kick off. I am Source, and joining me is Mr. Chunks. Sir, how you
Good
doing?
evening. I'm doing very
Hello.
well. I'm excited. I was observing last week. I got to see some awesome games come through, and now I get the chance to cast over it. And let me tell you, if last week is anything to go off, there are definitely some teams already proving themselves that we should definitely be keeping an eye on. So maybe we should run through the leaderboard real quick for anyone who wasn't here last week.
Yeah, like me. Let's do it. I'm only coming in here week 2, so I didn't get to see too much of what happened last week, but I am definitely interested in these leaderboards. Concordia right now up at the top of the pack with 57 overall points. You got to see them. Are they legit? Are they the real deal?
I got to tell you, they were absolutely fragging out. They were consistently getting into those top placements, and you can really tell 57 points overall. That's 13 points ahead of the second place team. Bearing in mind, remember this, guys, we only play 4 games a week. Okay. So those 13 points, that is huge for 4 games. That huge lead, it's impressive. Speaking of second,
nuts.
we've got Rochester Institute of Technology. They were absolutely popping off as well. We see a couple of well-known players, maybe from PCS, Group Stages Challenger Series. You'll see a lot of those players in here, and you can definitely see that those players kind of taking a lead on their team. And I don't want to say carrying, but definitely you see the play styles kind of transferring over between those like higher level comp tournaments and collegiate.
Yeah, no, for sure. Experience makes a lot of difference, especially when you start getting into these kind of weird situations or circles that you may not see as often. But there, it used to be, a year ago, I'd come in here in CBA and I'd be like, man, look at all these players. I haven't really seen too much of or heard too much of. Well, now, given the contenders league and the kind of I don't want to say minor league setup of PCS and just North American PUBG in general. A lot of these guys now, names I've been seeing show up in contenders leagues. I've seen some in PCS, and it's great to see a lot of experience in this lobby now to kind of couple that with seeing some new names that we might not know too well.
Yeah, it's definitely impressive. One of those players specifically, I do have to give a shout out to Delta. He's currently our top fragger, tied with Pseudovoid at the moment. Delta playing on Midwest College, so maybe not one of those top 3 teams like we were maybe expecting, but he is definitely pulling his weight here, managing to help Midwest, make the way up to 5th place with 13 kills already. Pseudovoid going to be tied there, and definitely shows with Rochester currently in 2nd place.
Yeah, Delta's pretty nuts. Delta's pretty nuts, and if you look over,
he's all right. Yeah,
he's pretty decent.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, and you look at the damage charts. Delta obviously still in first place as well, but Morns is up there. That's another name that we've kind of gotten to see recently. Sneak Attack, Pseudovoid, Crop, Pluis, Beck. I mean, all these names are starting to get a little bit more familiar in the scene. And so I'm really excited to see how CBA plays out this season, especially with all this new experience.
Oh, definitely. And bringing up the damage there, that's one of those things that goes really hand in hand with being able to make your way into the end game. You're able to farm that damage throughout the game, which is why we see teams like Concordia and Rochester both at the very top of those damage charts. They were able to consistently make it through to the end game, absolutely frag out, and it looks like we're getting into the game now.
All right. We'll be starting off on Miramar tonight. And so far, so good as far as planes go. This isn't too bad.
No, I mean, we did see a couple hot drops maybe early game, but I don't think now that the teams have played against each other a little bit, we're really going to be seeing too many of those. But I do say that it does actually look like 2 teams already going to be dropping over towards El Pozo, which could be a little rough for them here.
Yeah. Pozo, definitely big enough to hold 2 here, but you generally don't want to have to deal with that nonsense if you don't have to. That Arizona State squad has definitely got a lot of playing time together. Fear to Fork, Mixer, Mellow Panda have been around for quite some time playing under that ASU logo. They got Zez Games with them this time around. See what they can do about St. Ambrose. A couple of notable players in that team as well. Crimson 1K, King Nando, guys that have been around for a while. So could shake out to be a interesting early game fight, but for now they will just share.
Ooh, it's actually going to be a very hard Eastern Circle as well. So these teams are going to have to start making a move quickly. It's going to be interesting if they do decide to engage on this fight to see how exactly they're going to move their way out of here, because there's such a long rotate. You're either going to be forced to either push through a load of teams over towards San Martin, or you're going to have to hang all the way up north and end up taking a considerable amount of blue damage. So it could be a bit rough here for them.
Also got to keep an eye over here on Los Leones, as we have 3 teams all kind of looting in that same general area. We just checked in with Alabama. This Praetor Demon taking a long time getting the loot on, and actually CMB getting real close to Minas Generalis, which is already occupied by Ontario.
It could get a little risky for them, but I think these teams... Oh, did I speak too soon? Is Oblivion actually going to be engaging over towards that bug? He can't quite hit any of the shots. He's going for the tire. I like this. Not going straight for the headshot. Wants to try and spin him out, but I don't think it's going to be enough now, as will be able to get away. So I believe Alabama should be safe from Ontario for the time being, but this could always change, especially with these teams landing in such close proximity to each other.
Jeez. CMB counting his blessings right now. I mean, he was pretty much dead to rights. He was just sitting inside the buggy, and Oblivion, I guess, was looking around, didn't notice CMB sitting inside that buggy, and as soon as he did, he started open fire, and CMB was out of there. But fortunately for him, once the tires getting blown out, he was on that road, so it didn't result in him spinning out or anything. I mean, you could see the tires definitely not there.
Yeah, he's really going to struggle now here for Alabama, as I believe 2 of their players are inside one vehicle. So only having, 3 players inside one vehicle. So at the moment, it's kind of like they have one vehicle between the entire team. They're definitely going to need to scout out something. And I don't think they've even had chance to loot yet. Look, not even a helmet between all of them. So considering that we're 4 minutes into the game and they're yet to get any loot, I would definitely be concerned if I was Alabama at the moment.
A little bit of a late drop. Now they are heading way off to the north up to El Azahar, so they will be inside the circle, and they should have nobody around them for at least the foreseeable futures. Right now, the only teams that I could see maybe rotating in that direction would be LSU and RIT, but they're kind of posted up here around Hacienda. Looks like RIT might be doing a little bit of camping here.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I like the way that RIT, that they've been an extremely aggressive team. You know, we see so many names that we see on the regular in some of those higher level tournaments. Iceman actually going to be camping out here. Does spot out Big Penguin, takes a couple shots. Big spray coming out. Down goes Big Penguin. It's going to be our first knock of the game, as Persuasion Asian is going to try and give some backup, but it looks like he could just be a little bit too late here, as Iceman preps that nade, gets ready to throw it in to go for the flush. Persuasion Asian actually going to be hit up from the side angle here, as Crop all the way off to the northeast is also going to be hammering down. So it looks like Big Penguin is out of the fight for good now.
Yep. Crop doing a really good job of keeping track of Persuasion Asian there. Iceman trying to throw the grenade to get the flush, and it did a little bit of a weird bouncing thing. Didn't quite get to him, so let's finish him off with the M4 there. As now guard down. They'll try to make a run, but they're going to run right into Pseudo Boy, and immediately one goes down. The second is right behind him, and that's Rochester Institute of Technology knocking LSU out of the lobby early.
3 relatively easy points, catching those players off guard, not even taking a single bit of damage. Rochester just going hard in the early game, and let's see if they can carry over that momentum. They are currently in second place, so they want to try and get aggressive and pick up those points wherever possible. They want to try and take those points from Concordia, grab that first place position. But I mean, this is a great start to the game for them, I have to say.
As you said, a very experienced RIT roster right there. Now, LSU in the past has been pretty dominant in CBA. But so far today, starting with only 3, obviously didn't help, and running into RIT. And RIT, I mean, that was just a complete setup from the jump. I mean, they knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they executed it to perfection there. As we take a look at St. Ambrose, starting to move into El Azahar. And if you remember, we had our boys from Alabama that made their way into El Azahar a little bit late. So this could be... I'm sure Kazu from Alabama had to hear Crimson pull in. Probably hears King Nando now as well. But Alabama's still a little spread out doing their looting.
Don't forget that CMB as well is all the way over in Junkyard. So if they manage to make their way in, this is already a 3v2 fight. And Alabama, we said it earlier, they had to rotate in late. They've not really got themselves much loot at the moment. They have got themselves a city, so they should be able to at least get something, but it's not the position you want to be in right now.
Looks like Ginger G's is going to get himself a free crate as well. As the other thing that they have going for them in a little kind of a way here is St. Ambrose maybe a little bit distracted by Arizona State making the rotation in right behind them. So looks like they'll continue going on. Fear to Fork +2. We'll get to the top of the hill. Mellow Panda will be left behind as RIT continues to just ADR farm, shooting at any and everything that they can get their eyes on right now.
I mean, can you blame them? They're a heavy damage team. You know, we know players like Crop, Iceman, Pseudo, Hershey, all of them very, you know, seasoned players. They all know how to pull their weight here. So, I mean, definitely one of those teams focus on, see if they can close up this point gap. So it's going to be interesting as they are just going to focus on rotating in, getting themselves a strong position high up, get eyes all the way over to the east, over on towards Mellow Panda, as they do actually start to open up a couple shots on towards him now. So they are going to be rotating through. Mellow Panda is just trying his best to get away, but Pseudo Void doing what he can to try and punish onto this now. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to get anything, but this is definitely going to make Pseudo Void and his team a little cautious now.
All right, see, trying to take that high ground, as you said, get as much information as they can, because this is one of those weird circles that... Yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine. I don't think anybody's anywhere near. Yeah, they're all by
yeah, it should be resable. It's not the way you want to start the game, though. You got to bear in mind that your second knock, for anyone who maybe isn't a seasoned PUBG player, the more you get knocked, the faster you bleed out. So, as much as it seems like, oh, he's getting revived, it'll be okay, it means that if they get into a fight later, it's definitely going to be rough for them, as they'll be bleeding out a lot faster. It's actually Iceman going to be getting a knock over here on towards Mixter. They'll be able to flush it out. So another point here coming out for Rochester already onto FSU.
Just the ability to be able to take those high positions and send the shots down, and not only get the knocks or do the damage, but also get the knocks and get the flushes is huge for RIT right now. Now, the circle does pop, and it looks like we're going to get a La Bendita Minas Generalis type circle, which... should be good news for all those teams that were looking to settle up around La Bendita, like UCF, NC State, and I believe that is Midwest in purple.
Yeah, I have to say Midwest are already trying their best to be aggressive. I saw them earlier taking a couple shots over towards that team on the east. I believe it's NC State, as they are definitely making their position known. They're trying to get control over La Bendita as much as possible. You got to bear in mind, this ridge, it has such amazing high ground that you can play just because of the size of the dip. So if they're able to just kind of spread out, they can hold down a good chunk of the zone here just from playing a hill pretty much.
Yeah, they've got a lot of territory under their control right now. Now, I do have my eye on El Azahar, where it looks like St. Ambrose
like it's gonna
Alabama. Yeah, they're going to have to figure something out here soon, because there's probably a limited amount of vehicles up there. Alabama looking over and spotting out. But look at CMB, man. After all this time, all that looting, he still has not found a helmet. He only got a level 1 vest. And this is not what you want to be peeking down into.
No meds either. He's in a solo position. This is why, you know, when you do rotate into those cities late, you have to try and group together as a team, because you're not going to have that opportunity to loot up and then rotate and support your team. It does look like SAU are going to be moving away, but CMB decided to take a couple pot shots over at the last minute, doing his best to connect. Doesn't look like it's going to be enough, though, as Alabama. They will be thankful that they haven't been pushed here, but still not the best loot for them to start the game. So definitely going to be forced to take some fights if they want some. It's Flashy actually going to be able to get a knock over on towards Arctic Wolf now. So
yeah, it looks like finally crashing on top of NC State right now. NC State holding it for the main Jack is down. Shabs is down as well. It's all down to few, all getting shot in the back by Concordia as well. So NC State not even really the main antagonist in this fight. It's more the Midwest and Concordia just shooting them from range here.
That was beautifully done there by Concordia. They saw the fight kicking off and immediately start trying to third party. As soon as some damage comes out from NC State here, they just start hammering down with that mini, flushing out, and they've just picked themselves up 3 points for doing nothing. They took a couple shots and they've got themselves 3 easy points. It just shows how easily you can capitalize onto this. It's actually Midwestern will be losing Colsey as well as they try to go for the third party onto this. So it will definitely slow them down. They won't be able to third party onto this fight as well as they maybe wanted to, but still gonna be doing a bit of damage. And it wouldn't surprise me if they are at least able to get a flush out of this fight over the long building. Sneak attack again, picking up more kills.
Yeah, Midwest. He's going to go down as well. So that's 2 now down for Midwest. They tried to hold this southern part of the La Bendita crater, but maybe getting a little bit too greedy and over peaking there. Not only going down, but getting flushed as we see a few players from, I believe that's Norwich, trying to just struggle through here. Because I believe it's just Bloody Motions left.
Yeah, they tried to do a 4-man vehicle rotate all through the same vehicle, and it didn't work out for them. So many players getting shot out early. It was definitely rough, and at least NC State were able to pick up a couple kills that were maybe stolen earlier by Concordia. I say that as Concordia are going to be picking up yet another one. Sneak attack absolutely popping off with these DMRs at the moment. There's only one player going to be remaining, and it's Bloody Motions.
We saw that circle did shift, and we got that big shift off to the north. So it's going to be favoring Minas Generalis. RIT in a really wide split right now. Iceman and Hershey holding up to the northern part of Graveyard, while Pseudovoid and Crop are all the way down in La Bendita. Looks like they will be on their way to join their teammates towards Graveyard. But Concordia, as you said, was picking off a bunch of kills there from the south side from that one compound, but the compound no longer inside the circle, so they're on the move. As oh, look at this, a few trying to play the solo spoiler. He finds one, but not before he gets taken out, and unfortunately can't even get the flush on it. So that will be NC State breathing a sigh of relief there.
It's going to be rough here because NC State knew exactly where he was. It was the option of either trying to get aggressive early or just waiting and knowing he was going to get pushed, and really struggling in reality. But he is the final player after, you know, Concordia were able to steal a lot of kills onto his teammate. At least NC State will get themselves a couple of, 1 point out of it as opposed to a 0 if Concordia were able to third party all of those. But do see all these teams starting to rotate in now. Lots of big sprays coming out over on towards Southeastern as the vehicles are going to be taken extremely low here. Forced to go for the repositioners. I think that was I forget which team that was, but they were absolutely hammering down onto them. Mitchie just doing so much damage there.
Yeah, I think since Spirit Sanic was sent out for Southeastern to do a little scouting, but he pulled up right as the full 4-man squad of Cal pulls up. So he takes a little bit of damage from Cal and RIT, as it looks like they might be squaring up for a fight here between the Bears and the Tigers. Chaotic from Southeastern still shooting Cal in the back here, so Cal gonna have to be careful about what angles they decide to peek.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough one here as they are all... It looks like a lot of these teams are going to be kind of posted up over to the west of Minas. There's not really many playable positions here that aren't already taken or aren't at least going to get you punished as you rotate into it. But I like what RIT are doing. They've got a big split going on over on this ridge line. They're trying their best to hold people out. And Berkeley are just absolutely held down inside this single compound just by one player from Rochester. But I speak too soon as Mitchie Boy connecting with a big bolt shot. This is going to completely open up Rochester now as they only have one player to try and hold out this push. Berkeley doing what they can to try and work their way in. Pseudovoid with a big spray almost takes the player down, but it's not going to be enough as Iceman tries to go for the reposition up this roof, but not going to be able to get the res over on towards Hershey as now Berkeley are just full sending it in over towards Pseudovoid. He's going to be forced to play this back wall and hope that his team is somehow able to get into position to hold these players off as they just get ready to WK in. Iceman with the vehicle. Spray comes out. Runs out of ammo, though. Twiceman will be in for the time being.
And doing some tactical seat swapping there, but eventually will get taken out by Mitchy Boy as Cal collapsing on this. Pseudovoid will trade down Magnum. Crop is going to come around, wrap around the backside. Can he find him? Yes, he can. Shane goes down as Cal is starting to fall apart here. Mitchy Boy is still alive. Frodo's still alive. They have the high ground. Mitchy Boy with the quick shot onto Pseudovoid. Takes him down. Crop now still alive. This fight has to finish up, though, quickly because the Bearcats from Cincinnati are coming in from behind, and the blue is with them.
This is so rough here for Rochester. It looked like they turned the fight around, but an absolutely insane canine shot coming out from Mitchy. The quick scope, and now Rochester, they're trying to go for the res, but Crop's going to be caught on fire. Mitchy in that window, and it looks like UC Berkeley are just going to absolutely hammer down and outgo Rochester. So that's our second place team eliminated in 12th position now.
Not the cleanest fight of all time for Cal, but very effective. They keep 2 up, and they should have a pretty easy path into this circle. Now, Bandita Crater, though, getting a little bit dicey here, as it looks like, I believe that's Concordia and Southeastern are all fighting around the edge, while ASU holds down the center of the crater. NC State, meanwhile, still on the other side of the edge, taking shots at everything long range. We'll see if these two teams on La Bendita Crater run into each other during a wrap here.
Yeah, I do wonder whether these teams are really going to be able to play well out of this. It's definitely going to be rough for a lot of them, especially if this circle shifts. Getting up those Bendita hills are just completely open as well. Chaotic, he's just taking his time, wants a completely clean shot, synchronize it with his team, but only one of them going to be able to connect now. Make it 2, make it 3. They're going to be able to get the knock on towards Cincinnati. Yes, they are. So, Vegaholik will be knocked and most likely out of the fight here, as they will be able to flush it up, but the third party coming in here from FSU. Big damage coming out over on towards Southeastern. They should be safe, but this is the danger in taking fights out of this La Bendita dip. You are just vulnerable from so many different angles. As now Ginger Jesus, the final player, going out for Alabama in 11th position now.
I've been calling Florida State Arizona State this whole time. Fear to Fork used to play for Arizona State. I guess he's in grad school now. Florida.
It's Florizona.
It's Florizona. It's a mix. Okay. All right. That makes more sense.
It.
I got thrown off there a little bit, but either way, FSU holding down the La Bendita Crater right now. Now it looks like Southeastern is looking to make a move here towards the north side, but they've got the 2 remaining players from Cal that are sending up there as well, and FSU trailing from behind. So this is about to be a 3-way fight. Southeastern is the meat of the
Clue is getting the opening knock. Zez tries to get the trade. The 3x spray coming out. Finally connects with the headshot, but Zez is going to be low now. So if SC are able to re-peek over onto this, they could quickly clean up Florizona State now. There's only one player will be remaining. The utility landed all around. The Molotov close. Oof. But it doesn't matter because Chaotic, with that barrel spray, just finishes off Florizona in 10th position now, but they've drawn a lot of attention. We see UC Berkeley over on the eastern side are just keeping eyes down onto this now, and they definitely want to try and pick up a couple of those exit frags.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Cal looked like they maybe avoided that fight now that they are down to 2, just opting to get better position, really, to take shots on this, and it's going to pay off now as Frodo's going to find Spirit Sanic. Not going to be able to get the flush immediately. But at least they did have an angle. We also still have Concordia in the center of the crater that's going to have to make their way up eventually. But now NC State has made their way up to the eastern side of the crater. So Concordia finding themselves in a little bit of a bowl here. Mitchy Boy's going to get taken down by Regimes.
I got to say, if you're Concordia right now, this is a horrible position to be in. You got NC State up on your east. You have that final player from Concordia up to the north, and then SC all the way over on the west. So it's going to be rough for them. They are in for the time being, and they just need to really hope that NC State aren't aware of their position. They just keep taking shots down here over on towards SAU and these players that are over to the east. But SAU, they've sent it over to some form of cover, but they're not inside the circle. So NC State could potentially end up farming off of this. 5 kills already, and definitely a possibility they take it up to 9 now if they're able to clean up this squad as they rotate.
Yeah, we haven't really had a chance to talk about it too much, but you also have right in the dead center in the compound, Central Florida, is just kind of hanging out right now. 0 kills. They're hoping to maybe pick something off of this SAU, but it's really kind of between them and NC State as they try to find angles, any lines of sight that they can find here. Meanwhile, off to the north, looks like Ontario trying to make their way across the road from Minas Generalis, but Southeastern still laying down the shots on top of them, and they also have the additional issue of Eric Brisket, the solo player from Cincinnati, still snaking around right around them.
Yeah, this is rough. I mean, look at Oblivion here. He's in a horrible position. He's trying his best to get out and get eyes onto this, but he's just getting absolutely lit up from those players with the high ground down to the south. We do need to bear in mind Eric Brisket, though. He could potentially play spoiler here so heavily for OC. So if Cincinnati are able to just sneak their way in with Eric, then it's going to end up being huge. It's not really any surprise. St. Ambrose over on the east will be getting eliminated as they try to make that cross. So a couple teams will be able to pick up some points out of it, as it looks like NC State actually going to start moving their way down the hill and potentially look to take this compound, as the circle will center up slightly to the north. So would be a good position now for them to try and take.
NC State sitting on a nice little stack of 7 kills so far, but they have to make their way into the circle, as you said. And UCF holding them that compound is going to make things a little bit difficult, especially when you consider the fact that you got Concordia, full 4-man squad, still inside La Bendita.
This could be big here for UC Berkeley. Chaotic's right over the ridge. You can tell he's heard something, but I'm not sure whether he's certain. He knows that there were players all the way down to the south from Concordia, so Frodo could be in a bit of a rough position if these players do end up trying to peek over, but looks like for the time being, he's going to play it slow. Does get caught out from behind. Sneak attack going to pick up that kill there for Concordia. So they're going to have to work their way in with that team over to the north of them. Definitely going to start punishing. But at least Concordia are at least picking themselves up some points now as they do work their way into the circle.
Yeah, Concordia with 6 kills already as they make their way into Southeastern. But look at this, NC State tried to come around the backside. Taken by surprise, but Mourns is right on top of it. He's going to get the down onto Winlow. Gets taken low, gets taken out by Chaotic. As all these teams fighting their way outside of this crater. Southeastern's going to lose 1. Chaotic goes down to Flashia as Concordia still keeping things alive. And meanwhile, all this is going on UCF. Just staying inside the compound. No kills, no points whatsoever so far.
I love what Concordia did there with that fight. They had Mourns playing on this backside. They knew that if anyone was going to try and peek them from behind, he was definitely going to go down, but he was willing to sacrifice himself for the security of his team. As Concordia now, they're going to have 1 player knocked. They get the trade on towards Regimes. Sneak attack going to be going down as well, as Concordia are out of it. NC State now going to be forced to make a push over here onto this team over on the west. Lewis actually going to be laying down over onto Arctic Wolf now. So the 2-man of Southeast are going to have to pull out some big plays here to try and hold off this push, especially with the LOS from players up to the north, so they can't completely peek over this ridge and get aggressive onto it with all these players up to the north just peppering down shots onto Southeastern now. So the grenades will come out.
Yeah, Beams and Pluis, knowing that they have the down, trying to wrap around on this, see if they can get these 2 points. They'll find Arctic Wolf again, get the re-knock as Beck has the rock to hide behind. But for how long? Beams and Pluis hard crashing onto this. They want this point before they eventually have to figure out what to do next.
Yeah, they're definitely going to just send it in. They realize that they have to pick up some kill points here, which they do very easily, very quickly, as they're going to be forced to move down this ridge. Hopefully, they can use some of the utility off of these bodies to try and make a push down onto Florida now, as they've not got any kills yet. So is it a sign that maybe they're saving themselves for the late game, or are they maybe not warmed up as much as they'd like to be after sitting in a compound all game? Because you often see that where teams will get amazing position, but because they're just not engaging in fights as much as other teams throughout the game, then they've often kind of cooled down and aren't quite able to hit those shots as well as maybe teams that have been fighting all game are.
We'll see how it plays out for them. They have some experience on that squad as well. Span Cargo, Nomad Wrath. Definitely been around the block a few times here. You can't fault them. You can't fault them for having the compound and just getting circle luck. I mean, that's. I mean, you know, it is what it is. But you are correct.
you got to try and prioritize those placements at all time. It's definitely not to rag on them saying that they got the circle priority. They played it well. They've managed to defend it. They may not have picked off kills, but they have been farming this damage all game. They've stopped players from pushing, which is the priority. When you get a game like this where you have circle favorability, you just have to try and get those wins out of it. You maybe don't always want to frag out and risk, you know, getting knocked and then having players push. As Beams with a nice headshot over on towards Kid. So that's actually going to be 2 players down now from OC. So Southeastern going to be absolutely punishing onto this. And here we go. Oogie Boogie and Span Cargo both picking themselves up a point each by getting those flush. This is where that zone favorability comes into play. You're able to start picking up some knocks here. I like what Beams is doing. He's working around to the side, realizes that UCF are going to be distracted, and potentially going to try and get an opening knock onto this with the barrel now.
The issue is here for UCF is they have to get this win. They need to get this win. They need those placement points in order for this game to be worth it. As Beams will get taken low as he makes the run up to the compound. Nomad Wrath creeping out on the other side, trying to get an eye on to Pluis, but doesn't exactly spot him out just yet. You may have seen him now, but Nomad Wrath very, very low here from Beams.
Yeah, that flash going to give away a little bit of info now, as Beam's also going to be calling it out. Beam's going to have to kind of refocus his fire, making sure that he's not getting pushed from the compound. So it really is a 1v1 right now for Pluis, making sure that he is able to try and clean up with pretty much the entirety of UCF, just throwing down nades, raining down fire over on towards him as Nomad Wrath takes down Beams. Flushes it out. So there's one more point here for UCF. Can they finish off Pluis and eliminate yet another team?
4 Golden Knights versus 3 Stakes. Pluis and Nomad Wrath will open up on each other. No matter how this ends for Southeastern, 9 kills, definitely a great way to start your day. We'll see if we can get any more placement off of this. It looks like they are very much focused on finishing him off before turning their attention towards Eric Brisket and SA Dude. Nomad Wrath with a nice grenade will flush him out. And now let's see if they can find the other 2.
Eric doing what he could to try and pick up that kill over on towards Dude. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get it, though, as he will be getting eliminated by Dude. It's a 1v4, and, I mean, UCF, you can't fault them here. They played that center. They didn't lose any players. Now there is a 4-man, and it should be nice and easy for them to hopefully clean up here.
Yeah, that compound that they played from definitely, it's definitely rough to play from, because you kind of always find yourself in this same situation just because there's so much open space around it and so many ways that people can avoid the side of it. And here you go, UCF just going to crash on top of it. Nomad Wrath will pick it up. That'll be 5 kills and a win for Central Florida to start things off today.
Yeah, they grabbed that central position. They played off of it. You know, it is hard to be able to pick up kills with that huge hill behind you and then a huge area that realistically no one's going to play up to the north. Yeah. So there's no real way to pick up kills off of that. So definitely well played to be able to clean up and get those 5 points in the end games. That's a 15-point game for them. A good way to start the day, considering they're currently in 14th place.
Well, looking down the rest of the leaderboard, looks like Pluis and Chaotic did some pretty good work there for Southeastern. They get 4 kills apiece, 9 total for the boys from Southeastern. And then right below them, I think that's, I believe that's NC State. Yeah, Winlow, Regimes, Beck, Arctic Wolf, 5, 6, 7, 8. Another 9 kills for them. And another, 9 kills for Sneak Attack, Flashy Up Horns, and Culpepper. So 9 kills, kind of the recurring trend around here today.
I mean, if you're able to get 9 kills a game, then, you know, you're happy. You're easily going to be in that top 8. You know, we always say this. If you're able to get 5 points a game, then you're usually able to consistently place kind of well in whatever event it is that you're in.
That is true. 5 to 6 points a game is... you're happy with that, especially if you can avoid taking any goose eggs along the way, which a couple of teams found themselves with 0 points. Actually, quite a few teams with 0 points through this one there, at least through one, as early game proving to be a little bit rough for a couple of these guys. But anyway, that's game 1 down. We got 3 more to go. Are you gonna take a break real quick, Chunks, or what do you
I think we're gonna take a little break, get reset, ready for the next game, and then we'll see you guys in a couple minutes with our second Miramar game of the evening.
And we are back once again after that break, after the UCF Golden Knights take home game number 1 with 5 kills, 15 points total. And we are settling over on Erangel, where we are starting off with, well, just the worst plane ever, Chunks.
It's one of those days. I don't know about you, but I don't think we actually saw a milli circle last week. So maybe we'll see one this time. I do have to say though, UCF, I mentioned the fact that they grabbed that compound and they were playing into the late game, and it kind of sounded like I was ragging on them. I got to be honest. I got to be completely clear. I definitely was not. And looking at the stats now, I can see why they took that central compound.
They
terrible. Did over 1,000 damage that game. Even though not able to pick up an insane amount of kills, they were ADR farming all game there. Ontario in second place only managed to pick up, 700. So it shows that, even if you're in those central compounds, you can do a lot of damage, but it doesn't guarantee you the kills. But they managed to clutch up, get the win, and that definitely makes up for it. Which I believe is going to move them up actually quite a few slots here. They were, I believe, in 15th previously, and they've moved all the way up to 9th. So it shows how when we're only playing 4 games a day, it can make a huge difference just having one huge win, and it's really just anyone's game.
And there you go. Circle's going to pop. And, oof. All right, Chunks. This is a weird one, though. This is a weird way. Okay, so it looks like it's probably going to go milli, but I've seen this thing cut back to the north before, too. So I don't know.
I played, I think, last week I had an identical circle, and it was the most awkward thing ever. It sent it up over on the bridge, and then at the very end, when that water shift came in, it just hard shifted up to the north, and no one was expecting it. So, these circles, they are anyone's guess. It's going to be good for these teams that are maybe on Millie Island already, Rochester, and a couple other teams are going to be down there. So they should be able to at least play their way in. The problem is those teams that are maybe closer to the bridge would end up setting up a bit of a bridge camp if this circle shifts north, and that is when we're going to have some real problems.
There's actually quite a few teams down on Millie, and I think a lot of these boys predicting based off of that plane that the likelihood of going to Millie was going to be pretty high here. As we check in around the map, you can see Alabama. That's a questionable looting spot right there. All 4 dropping on to the junkyard before making their way up towards shelter. Now, Flashia is up here, but I don't know if Flashia is okay. Yeah, he's gotten some loot. He's been hanging around in the shelter, and this could be bad news for Alabama if they happen to run across him when they're not expecting it.
Yeah, I mean, Flashy could definitely catch them off guard. It is unfortunate whenever you see teams kind of dropping like this, because you know that there's one team that's always going to lose a couple players. It just tends to be the case because in this shelter underground, there's so many little corners that you can hide in. If Flashy wanted to, he could just sit there behind a box, wait until he hears the footsteps, pop out, and pick up 2 relatively easy kills. As good as Alabama might be, when you just get caught off guard, you get caught off guard, and if he's able to hit that spray, then they're losing 2 players no matter what.
All kind of a byproduct of that rough plane right off the start, right? He's not able to go super far north, and a lot of teams kind of falling on top of each other and having to settle for not the best of loot. As we check in, see Praetor Demon. They haven't really, doesn't look like they've fully committed to the shelter life. It looks like instead they're just going to be hoofing it, man, making their way on foot.
I mean, when you have teams pressuring onto you, you don't really want to be looting shelter. It can be just so rough, especially when the circle shifted away from it. The good thing about shelter is that you usually are pretty handy for rotations, but when you get a circle like this where teams are going to be heading over to Melee Island, then you just need to get the heck out of there and get somewhere maybe a little stronger and start looting up. As now look, SC, they're going to be sending their first players over. Nobody on this bridge just yet, but SC, bridge, if they wanted to, could do some damage. Oh yeah, that western bridge is looking absolutely stacked. 2 teams looking like they want to set up bridge camps on it already.
A little bit spicy here as LSU's made their way down here from Pachinki, but stopping just shy of making the cross. Cal already made their way across, but I think Ontario heard them, and now you can see them kind of setting up here, while Cal, I think, is just setting up for a potential bridge camp.
Yeah, I like the camp that Berkeley are coming out with here. They are just posted up on this bridge. They realize how rough this circle is. You said it yourself earlier. This circle can be so rough here, so they need to try and prepare themselves nice and early for any eventuality. And if that means they're able to pick up some kills by camping the bridge, then you can't blame them for it. It's actually Rochester and FSU both going to be getting into a lot of damage. Oblivion only with only got the Bison, so it just can't do that much damage. As Mitchy Boy able to clean that up. SC actually going to be getting 2 players knocked here from falling. I don't know how exactly that happened, but everything appears to be popping off right now. Rochester also going to be engaging. Crop getting a knock as well. Over on the bridge, this is why SC lost those players. They must have had a vehicle shot out or something, as UBC were able to get those players down, but it doesn't look like they're going to be resable, as Few is just going to be solo and knocked. Smokes come down, and it looks like the rest of his team are going to be all the way down in Novo. So I don't think SC can really make much happen here out of it in terms of picking up points.
A number of early fights going on here, as it looks like Florizona has taken the high ground just to the west of military base. RIT, who was looting up in that same area, tried to send it over there, and they just got absolutely destroyed here. Hershey now the last one alive, and that definitely feels bad if you're RIT. You know, consider you dropped here on Millie, you looted up on Millie, and then immediately before the first circle even closes, you're down to 1. That's just that just sucks. Here as NC State looks like they might have heard a little bit of the action going on. Creeping over here, seeing if they can spot anybody out. Regimes uphill, gonna find a few shots. Not gonna find the downs though. He's gonna have to be careful. He does have support in the form of Beck right behind him, but I don't know how much of this fight they really want to commit to.
Yeah, Regime's doing a lot of damage right now with that SK. Bear in mind, guys, we are playing on live servers at the moment as well, which means we are on the new patch. So maybe that SLR not going to be as prevalent as it was in the past. A lot of players definitely deciding to opt for maybe SKs more than they were maybe on the previous patch and things like PCS, where that old SKS is that old SLR, sorry, is still very OP. So NC State looks like they are going to try and disengage from this, move down to the south. They have Winlow and Arctic all the way down in those compounds. They don't want to commit onto this, especially as a 2-man. But I got to say, a rough start to the game here for Rochester as they lose those 3 players early. That's the nature of these really southern lane paths, that they just cause so many issues for the teams that typically tend to land on Millie. When they do get challenged, they're often not expecting it.
Yeah, and you know, it might have just been the case that RIT wasn't expecting Florizona to be there. You know, they just weren't expecting that another team to be over there on that western part of the military island, because it just probably never happens. But as it was set up,
this is big here from NC State.
I
like this. This is a gas cannon play right here. You know, you land Millie, you work your way down to the south, and you try and camp those teams off. As now Cincinnati, that boat's just going to be out of it. So these 2 players are going to be in such a rough position, forced to go swimming now, as NC State just laying down fire. 3 players out in the water now. Can they take down the last? Looks like Edge should be able to get away, but now there's just 3 players swimming, and it almost looks like one of them could be potentially trying to drown here to deny points. Yeah, they're actually going to start denying points this early in the game with 15 teams alive. This is something I've not seen in a while.
Well, you know what? It is. You got to do what you got to do, and unfortunately, looks like Beck will find major blockhead, so at least 1 point will be picked up by NC State. He'll find Fagaholic as well, and that'll be 2. But the good news for Cincinnati, at least Edge was able to get out of this, and does manage to make landfall just off to the west, or east rather. So Cincinnati's still in it, despite only having 1. And wow, that western bridge, once again, looking pretty spicy.
Up to the north as well, we see UCF. They're going to be coming straight through Midwestern. Midwestern not deciding to take any shots, just that maybe leaving it a little bit late, as now that team down on the south had definitely set up for a bridge camp here. So they could try and hold out as many of these teams as possible as they move their way down. LSU are just inside that compound, ready to rain down some fire on any vehicles that come past. They are going to be getting engaged from Midwestern off to the north, but they have themselves some hard cover. As long as they don't overpeak here, it shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Yeah, Midwestern got to make a decision about what to do. It looks like they might be hopping into vehicles, maybe looking to reposition while they have the opportunity. Definitely
Oh, they have
decent
three
call there.
players in one vehicle here. If they decide to vehicle send this, it's going to be over for them. And it looks like they're actually just going to move over to the east and try to get themselves some boats, or just swim instead, because it's just too risky to take a car across that bridge this late.
Yeah, well, I think Alabama believes in what you were saying as well. They sent CMB all the way over to the radar tower. The rest of the team swimming across right now, avoiding that bridge camp for the time being. But British Columbia going to fund right into Beck. And Beck will pay the price as he scouted just a little bit too far off to the east. And now NC State will lose one. They're down to 3.
I mean, losing one, they've already picked themselves up a couple kills. You got to think of it as maybe taking a team fight early. They were able to pick some kills off those rotation players. So it's unfortunate to be down as a 3-man, but in terms of all the noise they made, it's surprising they only got one player punished. Again. So, oh, Southeastern are actually setting up over here. Watch out for any swimmers. They know something's going to happen. They just don't know exactly where. Doesn't look like they've spotted out any of these Alabama players yet. So they are very close here. Could Alabama potentially like sneak up onto this? They are all going to be low after tanking that blue damage, but it seems like, oh, never mind. I spoke too soon. Beams is going to spot him from Southeastern. First player's down. And this is going to be horrible here. If you are Alabama, you've got no boat, no vehicles, and just praying. Oh, that's it. Actually, I think he's going to go down to zone here, potentially, if Beams isn't able to hit this last shot. So, yeah, this is horrible here for Alabama's. Actually, they're also going to be engaging onto Fizzle up to the north. Somehow, Fizzle managed to get himself a vehicle, a boat, and Alabama weren't quite able to. Ginger Jesus going down as well. Kalzu, I think, is the last one up, and he's swimming and praying, but SC are just ready for this.
Swim faster. Faster. Get there. Yeah.
Can he make it, though? That blue zone's going to be on his back. Just one bullet and it's over. Kalzu. Nope.
Oh, no, yeah. He's hella screwed.
I thought he would maybe get a med off for a second then, but Chaotic all the way over on the east, just with clean eyes onto that. LSU picking themselves up some points, and nice and early, as Ontario going to be going out in 15th position now. Circle actually going to center up. It's not horrible.
No, could be worse. Now, weirdly enough, the hills to the north of the military base here completely empty, and usually you see just multiple teams working from that angle. But for whatever reason, this time around, we've seen so many teams either wrap to the south or wrap to the sides, or make a kind of a late approach. That those hills are just completely open right now. So keep an eye on that. Let's see, Regime's going to take the long-range shots here towards our last Cincinnati player. Edge just dancing in the...
Yeah, when you lose those 3 players early off the rotate, there's not really much you can do out of it. But nice shots coming out from Regimes as they pick up their 3rd kill onto that team. You know, they had to wait for it, but they got it in the end. And now NC State, they have to rotate their way in. They are currently in a 2-2 split. They were really banking on at least one of those squads getting themselves a compound. As actually Concordia going to be engaging now over on towards FSU here. So Florizona State losing a player early as Concordia just going to WK in. They realize that these players are going to be caught off guard now. Trying to catch them on the back foot. Flashy going over this ridge to the right. Can't quite get eyes down onto any of them just yet, but Florizona deciding to back off of this and move their way down the hill. They have to be careful, though, because Berkeley are going to be in that compound on the east, just ready to hold them out after hearing those shots. And that's going to be a case as Frodo picks up one here for Berkeley. Going to try and flush him out. Is successful. So what does Florizona State do now? Can they run back up the hill, or do they just have to commit to this and hope that they maybe get an opening knock?
And it looks like Melopanda is going to try to get on out of this, while Zez is, well, just basically stuck behind the tree. We'll see if he can escape. Going to take a few shots in the butt there for Shane. Yep, you can keep crouching all you like, buddy. I don't know how much longer you're going to be able to survive. Yep, there you go. Taken out, but Melopanda has made his way around there. So unlucky there for Florizona State. They had an idea about where they wanted to rotate, and the second they started to rotate. They get taken by surprise by Concordia from the backside, lose one there, and I guess either just didn't know that Cal was already in that compound, or just left them kind of in an overexposed state. We'll see what Melopanda can do as a snake going forward.
As the circle is about to close in, we're going to see where this next zone pops. Those northern hills finally having players moving in towards them, and it's going to work out for them here as the zone will shift up to the north. So LSU with a very advantageous position here. However, they're very split. So if that team over on the east are able to sneak their way in and maybe take down Persuasion Asian, then it's going to open up the defense here for LSU, and it's going to make it very rough for them to try and fight out of it, with teams going to be moving in from all different angles, kind of centering up onto their position now.
Yeah, LSU taking that position at the right time, but Persuasion Asian might be committing a little bit too much here as we see Fizzle trying to survive for Midwest. The other duo from his squad running into Southeastern on the hills just to the south here. Pluis just going to hop in the vehicle and get on out of here. Spirit Sanic has gone down, but Fizzle a little bit stuck out here in the northern part of this zone outside of Circle.
Yeah, and we see Midwestern now. They're trying their best to make their way in, but Southeastern just going to absolutely punish down. Molotov's coming down. Colsey going to be in a rough position. He isn't on fire, though, so he is still able to fight off of this. Can Fizzle maybe somehow make his way into zone here and support his team? It's going to be rough as it's such a long way, as Beam's going to be able to flush out Gribbs now. So Colsey in a solo fight up against this 3-man, or is it a 4-man of SC here, as they just work their way down. Nade connects from Pluis. So just going to play the backside. This U has smokes everywhere. Molotov starting to spread, and Blue is just going to move around to the side. It doesn't matter, though, as Chaotic able to hit a nice headshot through the gap in that UAS as Florizona State now trying their best to engage, but Concordia able to clean it up.
This is a clean push. Clean push from Southeastern. They take him out. Fizzle does manage to make it to the compound. Inside a circle, is going to stay alive for a little bit longer, but LSU has him pretty pinned. We'll have to see. You'll most likely just kind of hang out there for the time being. LSU looks like they're starting to turn their attention off towards the west, where UCF has made it inside the circle, but only playing not the greatest position in the world here.
Yeah, I kind of wonder what exactly the plan is here, because it is a very rough position for them to be able to hold, and you know they may be a 4-man, but with so many clean line of sight from teams like Concordia, which, by the way, are our first place team for a reason. They are very aggressive, and we see that coming out right now from Sneak Attack, as he just sends that motorcycle down the hill to try and get a side angle. I'm not sure whether UCF maybe wanted to use this as kind of a leapfrog position where they can move their way further in, or whether they saw this as kind of a late game, not expecting Concordia to be over to the west, but they should be safe for the time being, as Concordia going to be forced to move down to the south and make their way in. But LSU are going to be third partying onto this. Beast takes down Nomad, Wrath, and now UCF are going to be a little bit on the back foot with the zone behind them. And on next shift, it's very likely going to force them to move.
Concordia, meanwhile, I think realizing all doors were closed on that northern side, and they end up rotating back down towards the south and find themselves a free compound open up here. And actually, if they do a little bit of scouting, they should see that the compound just to the north also open. And look at that. It's going to move the circle in that direction. They should be able to make their way across. But LSU Persuasion Asian just crashing onto this. Love the aggression.
Yeah, I like the way he just full sent it in. They realized that maybe UCF haven't had the strongest game so far in terms of like heavy fragging power, so they want to try and push onto this and pick up those kills onto UCF, which maybe haven't been taking too many team fights. They realize that they're going to have a bit of an advantage as a very aggressive team here for UCF. As Oogie Boogie going to do a lot of damage. The headshot is connected in return, though, so Persuasion should be safe for the time being until UCF try to make a push over onto this, and they're a little bit distracted for the time being, with the rest of UCF being pretty far away here. Sorry, rest of LSU being pretty far away, as now NC State getting eliminated by Berkeley here over on that southern side.
LSU, like they've got their attention put onto Fizzle right now, the last player from Midwestern. or Midwestern colleges. They'll see if they can get a flank on him. Yep, Big Penguin will take him out. And Persuasion Asian holding the anchor spot right now, making sure that UCF doesn't peek up over the top of this. But I gotta say, man, I not only like the aggression for Persuasion Asian, but that's an ego push going in there and just all by yourself, 1v4, and you've got an AK. Like that's confidence.
I mean, you say that,
Oh.
but let's show some love here to Big Butt Judy, who's rocking a UMP. Now, if that isn't confidence, then what is?
You know, I was before we came here. I was watching a little bit. We had these scrims between North America and LATAM, and apparently LATAM really is feeling the UMP and the submachine guns over the M4.
Yeah,
right
it
now.
definitely feels like there's an SMG meta on its way because you see so many players using it. It's actually Concordia. I saw this earlier. I knew it was going to kick off sooner or later. Concordia going to be opening up over on towards St. Ambrose now. So 2 players left up from St. Ambrose. They're trying their best to defend, but they're going to be on the back foot as they are not only getting lit up from these players close, but Sneak Attack going to be playing that anchor position across the road, doing some big damage. Lord the Charge pulls out the nade to transport his teammate, but it's not going to be enough as Crimson going to be going down Sneak Attack now. Flashy flushes it out. 1 player left up. It's going to be Lord, and he is in solo position. He's thrown some nades, but I don't think they know exactly where he is, so he could be safe all the time being, as Concordia are going to be picking themselves up some heavy points now.
I mean, Concordia made that look easy, and that is just a really, really tough, difficult push to get across that road and to push into this compound and then just wipe that team in practically no time. It's just ridiculous. That team is looking really, really hot right now. Meanwhile, Cal Berkeley, they made short work of whoever else was on the south. You can see 11 kills already, but Mitchie Boy's gone down from long range. HD Beast putting in the shots.
Yeah, I mean, LSU, you saw how aggressive they were getting earlier. It's no surprises here that they're taking these long-range shots and just going for it. With only 5 teams remaining, 11 players left alive, you have no excuse not to take shots wherever possible at this point, especially when you have the high ground like they do. There's a lot now he's going to be getting pushed into. Sneak Attack pushes in, cleans it up with the barrel. It's Concordia going to be annihilating St. Ambrose.
Easy as you like. And now Concordia has that western part of the circle to themselves, although Cal might start looking to wrap in that direction here shortly. We are down to our top 4. LSU will get that res, so they'll remain 3 strong, with Southeastern trying to make things difficult for them, while Plus and Chaotic trying to push off of that down as much as they can.
LSU just hammering down fire over onto this eastern side. They've lost line of sight for the time being over onto Southeastern, but I give it a couple seconds till they start opening up again. Pluis, he has managed to get himself in safe zone, but he's only got a tree. He realizes he has to try and engage up on towards HDBs here, which he is going to be able to do. This gives Chaotic the opportunity to flank around to the north. So this could be big if he's able to crest up onto this, as it appears that Louisiana just aren't completely aware for it, as they have all of their focus down on Pluis. Now, Chaotic peeks up with the barrel, takes down 1. This is going to put LSU on the back foot now as they are into a 2v2, but Pluis is just so far away, he can't really support his teammate for the time being. Smokes come out for the res. Is Chaotic actually going to be getting caught all the way from the south? So what does Pluis do here, as he's just going to be forced to just play the bottom of this hill using the rocks and hoping that UC Berkeley don't punish him for it?
Shane doing LSU a favor there, taking out Chaotic. Because now LSU should be able to get the res onto HDBs, get back up to 3 strong. As you said, Pluis does have the circle, has a little bit of a rock to hide behind, but that's about it. Meanwhile, Concordia still hanging out in the compound. They did trade a few shots with Cal on the south side, but nothing of real substance, as it looks like pretty much everybody just holding out for the time being to see where this next circle decides to go. Pluis, goodbye, sir.
There's only so much you can do off the rock. I really like the push that Southeastern went for. I feel like it was about to be huge, but with UC Berkeley all the way down to the south, taking those long range shots, it's no surprise that it didn't work out. But I got to tell you, if it did, I would have been very excited to see it. As circle is going to shift over to the west now. Concordia should be able to stay inside this hard cover, whether they choose to or not, we will have to see. As UC Berkeley down on the south going to be forced to play a very open ridge here, so they're definitely trying to frag out and get opening knocks over onto these players inside the circle as soon as possible. knowing that they're going to have to run down this ridge into what's pretty much no cover here, but that MK can just be so big if the headshots are able to connect here.
You can see Shane is already on a 5-kill killing spree right now, and Frodo with that dangerous MK in his hands. We'll see how LSU decides to make their approach here. Concordia just kind of content to sit around and hang out in their compound and wait for this to play out.
Yeah, I actually saw Sneak Attack hopping in a vehicle then, so I think they're maybe keeping a bike in case that circle maybe centers up on top of that hill and they just need to send it in quickly. Now they have themselves a shack that they're able to play. It's better than what a lot of the other teams have, but LSU, I think, if I had to say, they're definitely in the strongest position with this huge hill, as they're actually going to send it down into the bottom of the dip, deciding to take this fight straight to UC Berkeley now and limit the amount of space that they're able to really play with all their players just sending it into the center. Frodo going to be engaging over on towards LSU. They pull up, hop out the vehicle. Berkeley getting ready to engage. Shane takes down one, takes down the second now. There's LSU trying their best to return fire, but maybe this send was not the play. Frodo going to be eliminated. That final LSU player, so Louisiana State down in third place, and Concordia versus Berkeley. Concordia of a huge split here with Sneak Attack all the way up to the north, engaging down with the shots on towards Frodo. Down he goes. Last player up is going to be Shane. He's in a 1v3. Is anything really going to happen with this limited amount of cover that he has with just Dacia up against the 4-man force of Concordia? Have to find out in just a matter of seconds, I'm sure, as the circle gets ready to close in. Shane decides to peek out, returns fire over on towards Flashy and Sneak Attack, but see Pepper all the way around the back to try and take him out here with the flank.
Yeah, it's a really nice play from Culpepper here. Trying to come in from the different angle. Not expected. Flashy and Sneak Attack still taking the shots over the top. He keeps his pin down, and there you go. Easy as you like. Concordia cleaning it up with 10 kills.
That's a 20-point game. I believe that's their third win. Bearing in mind we've had 6 games, this is their third win. It's no surprise they're in first place at the moment. Sneak Attack, I think, is working as an IGL role right now, and you can tell it's really playing off for them as Concordia absolutely dragging out as we reach the halfway point of the evening.
Yeah, I mean, look, that was not an easy game for Concordia either. I mean, they had to make some very difficult rotations coming in late, playing from that western side. They came up on the hill. They managed to backfill Florizona rather very nicely, and making some good decisions. They were kind of stuck there on the northwest for a minute and decided to turn it around, try to send it down to the south. They get a little bit lucky with the fact that they had a way into that compound that was just kind of free, and they made the most of that luck.
I mean, not to forget, they had to fight their way into that compound. There was already a team inside it, I believe, that they really did have to fight tooth and nail, as they almost lost a couple players, but they were able to quickly trade them out and luckily not lose any players in that compound push. And I mean, that's the reason they managed to pick up so many kills. Getting those kills off a compound push definitely gives you an insane amount of confidence to go into that late game and pull out a huge split and rotate, just like Pepper actually did here.
There you go. Got to give credit to the Cal gang as well, making it to the second place with a boatload of kills. I mean, what did they end up with? Like 15? Yeah, something ridiculous. Just a bunch of kills for Cal. And LSU, despite having that very forgettable game 1 where I think they only lasted about maybe 3 or 4 minutes, they come back and put on a big, strong performance here in game number 2 with 9 kills in a third place.
Yeah, very impressive here. As our first Erangel game of the day. I think we're going to take a short little break here. Then we'll be back with Miramar and then back onto Erangel for our final game of the evening afterwards. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you in just a couple of minutes.
flip that around and go the other direction and travel into a world where everything is just you and you're just this being. It's like very confusing, and usually there is no right answer as to like which of these perspectives is right. But that's comforting in itself. Like, you know, there's never going to be a right answer.
Hello, everybody. We are back once again. We've got 2 games in the bag, 2 more to go. And after that last game, we can take a look at our leaderboards chunks. Things are looking, well, not a whole lot different than they were at the beginning of the day.
I mean, it's just the gap is just growing here for Concordia. After that insane win, they managed to pick themselves up 20 points, really solidifying that lead here, putting them in, I mean, staying in first place, I should say, with 88 points. With second place going to be down in 59 points. Third place with 57. So at least there's a bit of a fight going on between these top 5 teams here for who's taking second. Remember, guys, we have a long way to go. We've still got a couple more weeks of games, so it's still anyone's to take. But if Concordia keep up this performance, then who's saying how far they can go?
Yeah, they haven't started slowing down yet, and as you said, by the end of the night, we'll be 8 games through for our 20-game season. I believe it's 20 games. At least that's what it looks like on our leaderboard here.
4 games for 5 weeks. Yeah, that sounds about 20. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, hey, my caster math's also like usually pretty trash, but that one I think I can do.
I don't know, man. I've been in that situation before where I said I thought I knew what it was and it doesn't work out. As already, actually, we do see LSU going to be engaging here. The 2 Tiger teams both coming up against each other down by Hacienda, but they do look to be a little safe. Now, just a reminder, these teams, whoever gets first place is playing for $1,000 here, provided by the NA Collegiate League, as well as getting themselves some nice pro jackets provided by Sector 6 Apparel. And not forgetting, the top 8 teams from here will also get a chance to play and try out for the Wolves Esports PUBG team.
Well, that's a spicy little prize pool there. We'll keep an eye on that. We do have a circle pop, and we're going all the way off to the west as we see so far Southeastern going to be rolling into Monte Nuevo. They should be pretty comfy looting up for the time being. Meanwhile, a lot of that mess to the southeast chunks, I don't know about that, man. That's looking pretty dangerous.
That's horrible for any of these teams. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams all within a few kilometers of each other. This early in the game, I'm telling you right now, if they decide to rotate through UC Berkeley here, then Berkeley are going to have a very heavy fragging game, as they are pretty much going to have that main road up to Monty completely under their control for the time being. So any teams rotating through are going to have to pass straight through them. So it could be a big camp here coming out for UC Berkeley if they decide to do so, if they saw those teams drop Los Leones.
It's gonna be weird for sure. This is the densest I think I've seen this little area of the map right off a drop, maybe ever. There's a lot of teams. You even got Puerto Paraíso being looted up. Alabama now clown carring it right into Los Leones. We'll see if Florizona picks up on that. It's a little nerve wracking there as you see that on the mini map. Oh, here they come. Fear to Fork is ready and waiting, and I don't even know if Alabama's gotten a chance to loot yet.
No, it's gonna be a really rough one for them. I gotta say, is just the Fear to Fork. He's kind of posted up. It's a question of whether Alabama are able to get the jump on him first. There's actually Fear to Fork is going to be backing off in the vehicle, so it seems like maybe he didn't want to take this early game fight. He wants to try and make it into the late game here, or is he just picking up his teammate? I wonder.
Yeah, he may have heard this. I imagine he might have heard the vehicle stop, and that's going to give him the information that there is at least somebody, one person over here in this compound. Now, whether or not, how long it takes them to figure out that it's 4 people in there, it's another thing altogether. Alabama just going to loot up in that one little comp. They've been kind of having some issues with their looting so far. That they're you can tell that they want to stick together, but all the places that they keep dropping are not great as far as collecting a bunch of loot is concerned.
No, it's definitely a rough game. I'm not sure whether it's down to the fact that these are the primary drops and they want to go for them, or it's just a case that maybe they're being pressured so they're not able to loot the way that they usually go for. But I really don't know now. It definitely seems to me it might just be a bit of pressure being applied, which makes it harder for them to loot exactly where they want, or it could even just be a case of them wanting to, get out of there as early as possible, just start moving.
We'll see how it plays out for them. Meanwhile, Fizzle for Midwestern going to take over the Red Bricks. It's a great position to take early. I think NC State thought the same thing. They were hanging out on this hillside over here. They're going to give up the Red Bricks to keep hold of the hillside, which is, equally fine.
Yeah, I mean, this hillside is so powerful to hold. You can flank out all the way. There's a compound over to your west as well if you really want that hard coverage. Midwestern may have a little bit of an issue working their way in circle with Winlow just raining down fire. And I'm not sure whether he realizes how many players are actually here, but it actually looks like Fizzle is going to be pushing out of the compound and playing the bottom of the hill here. So I'm not sure whether Midwestern want to get aggressive onto this, but it looks like Fizzle is potentially wanting to take this fight, maybe get a knock or two and then disengage.
Yeah, that's pretty aggro stuff from Fizzle here. He's going to see Gribbles will be making his way up. I think that Gribbles might be a little bit of a bait here. Fizzle just waiting to hear where the shots are coming from. Fortunately for NC State, they haven't started creeping too low. Oh, okay. Fizzle's going to get shot in the back, and that's going to be the end of that.
Yeah, that's definitely going to change the plans. Nice shots coming out from Chaotic. Some very long-range shots. And this early in the game, I'd be surprised if he has, a really strong scope. So, impressive to hit those. And now Midwestern just going to be forced back off. I say forced, but it's definitely not a horrible position to be players. Chaotic yet again, taking a couple more shots, shoots out the tires over on towards Kid now. So, can he connect with the SK here? Trying his best to pick up one of those headshots. Doesn't look like it's going to be the case, so... Oh, actually, Chaotic takes down Kid. The vehicle's blown up. Dude down to low HP as well. Chaotic flushes out one, picks up the second as SC now. 2 kills early in the game. Very impressive for them now.
Jeez, Chaotic can't believe his luck there. He just, the last bullet Last bullet he shot hit Kid. You can tell Chaotic was already on the reposition as he took that last shot, and he's like, "Wait, whoa, that hit? Okay, let me go back here and flush this out." And look at that! I get a free one to go along with the one that I got already. So, 2 nice ones picked up for Chaotic Southeastern, holding down that Montenuevo position. Meanwhile, Ontario is left with 2.
Through this. Was that through a smoke?
That is through the smoke.
Ooh, that was clean there coming out from Chaotic. He is absolutely fragging right now. He is hungry for kills. Wants to push Southeastern up out of that 3rd place position. There are only a couple points, remember, between 3rd and 2nd, so they want to absolutely frag out right now.
Look at the map real quick and look at that southern road here. As
Oh my
all of those
gosh,
teams that were in
opening
Los
up.
Leones decided to wrap around to the south side here, and it is all coming to a head. Fear the Fort will try to finish off Jacked.
Fear the Fork, I should point out,
goodness.
he just hit the drive-by on that. As they set up a bridge camp, UBC tried to set up like a camp on the road. Fear the Fork said no thank you to that. Did the seat swap, manages to hit the road kill, but now it might be turning around as Florida State are getting absolutely lit up. They will be losing a player as those Cincinnati players also inside the compound to the south are going to be laying them out. And FSU, they were happy with that 1 kill point, but losing a player now and getting caught out. Their vehicles are going to be low. It's a rough one. Oh, Edge with like a 200-meter SK shot into the vehicle, connects with the headshot. Down goes Fear the Fork. So 2 players lost now for Florida State.
It's a shot, Edge. All right, we see you. All right, where's the next circle going?
Oh no.
All right, let's go to the south, where everybody was. I'm actually, I'm kind of surprised to see this cutting to the south. I mean, you based off of what we saw and how the circles usually behave, I was kind of expecting that little area north of Montenuevo, but looks like we are going to get the shift going down to the south here, and Ladreria, all these places still open. Which is kind of surprising considering how many teams that were making that long wrap from Los Leones down around to the south side.
Well, I mean, you said it yourself. You were surprised that it shifted down to the south, so the players have got to be equally surprised here. They were definitely getting ready for a Pozo Fields ending and trying to work their way up here, and now they're all going to be forced to send it in. Let me tell you, right now that this game is going to be a messy one. There's so many small compounds that teams can play where teams are just going to be constantly crashing into each other. It's going to be a rough one for them, especially as this circle shifts. Remember, that entire western side of the circle, that cliff, is all unplayable. So that circle has to shift off of there, which means that pretty much a third of the circle teams are not even able to get into right now, which means they're going to be clustered together. And it's basically, you know, a phase ahead of where we actually are.
NC State already paying a little bit of a price there for that cluster as Florida State will take, or Florizona rather, will take a few shots over at them in transition. You can see what happened to Arctic Wolf. He's stuck. Beck going to go down to Concordia as they've now made their way into the northern part of this circle. Taking a few shots over the top and just fighting going on all over the place. As you said, a lot of little compounds and everything, but everybody's got to make their way to them. So there's like only a few different routes you can take to get in there, and then you also got to throw in the fact we got a couple of teams that still haven't even left the blue. Alabama still in Los Leones, LSU still in San Martin, getting well, I think RIT is just being more of a pain for LSU than anything.
Yeah, you could tell that Rochester were trying their best to hold out LSU, but now that this circle shifted, they just have to start making a move quick. It's all well and good saying that you want to maybe pick up a couple extra kill points out of camping these players in the zone, but when you have this rough of a circle, you realize you have to just send it in. And yeah, CMB going to be going down to zone here. It's a rough one for him, but what can you expect when you're in blue for that long? Is Berkeley going to be opening up over on towards Midwestern now? Nothing much coming out, but it is going to make them a little bit nervous as Mitchy Boy getting ready to crest over. Here's the vehicle, goes for the AK spray, takes down one. Drive-by tries to come out, not going to be enough as Colsey going down as well. Mitchy goes for the reposition, but Grips is going to be right up this hill and could do some insane damage onto him if he doesn't have the info. Gets the flush. Frodo coming in for some support, but is it going to be enough now as Midwestern have the info of exactly where Berkeley are going to be? It could be rough as now Fizzle and Frodo running right past each other without realizing. Shane going to be up on top of the hill. Fizzle goes for the spray. Will be able to pick it up. Down goes one from Berkeley now. Trying to get that trade in return as Berkeley, they have 3 up and Ribbles is far over to the west. can't really support Fizzle for the time being. As I did say about those teams off to the north earlier, it looks like Rochester have actually set up another camp over on towards LSU, but let's forget about that for a moment as we just hop on board with Cribs.
Oh.
Just holding. Oh no. Oh, this is. I feel so bad for all of these teams right now. As Cribs now he connects with the headshot on Slumber. Magnum and Mitchy Boy peek out onto it. Fizzle far away. Can't really make much happen. So Midwestern not really going to be able to do much for the time being. Fizzle just going to have to kind of play as a little bit of a rat, as he's still got to shift all his way into the circle. And there it is. LSU, I told you they were getting held out by Rochester, and it definitely paid off for Rochester. They picked themselves up 2 kill points. Only 3 players in the game, and a long way to go in that blue. They got to pray that there's some meds on these bodies now.
These guys are trolling. This circle is actually wild. I'm really surprised to see this one cut off to the west again with that much unplayable area still in. Now Cincinnati had a great position, but they're starting to get a little bit of pressure put onto them by Norwich. As you can see, Eric Brisket has gone down. MJ Blockhead try to get the res here, but nope, Norwich going to push it.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to mention this, but we did have, for anyone who's in NA, maybe didn't see this, but in Dragon League, only the other day, we did see a pretty similar circle. And let me tell you, Norwich's position, it paid off big, and the team that were holding it ended up absolutely cracking out of it, as they are going to be engaging on towards Cincinnati now. The Vector actually going to be coming out. Eric going to be getting traded out by Cakerman now. Blockhead going to get one more. Norwich with only 2 players left up as they try to make push onto it. They know roughly where Blockhead's going to be, but Belts is going to shoot over towards the body. That gives away a little bit of info now. Is Blockhead going to be able to get the flush on towards Levington? Cakester going down as well. Blockhead getting knocked from long range though, so UCF starting third party onto this. 1 player left up from Norwich here, and it's going to be rough for them, especially with UCF starting to work their way up this hill from the east with the vehicles now.
I mean, I think UCF is just content with hanging out in that compound, but they just happen to catch sight of Blockhead. Blockhead almost pulls off the 1v4 with the Vector of all things. Now, Cruzy will finish off Bloody Motions from Norwich, but it looks like 1 res will at least come through, and Norwich will be back up to 2. As I mean, you said it. I mean, they had a great position with that 4-man, but Blockhead just making a big problem for him.
I mean, Norwich had an insane position there, but the problem is when you have a team like Cincinnati playing behind that ridge, it can be so easy for that team to then make a push onto that compound. And it shows it. Norwich knew that. They tried to get aggressive onto it to defend early, but it just didn't work out for them, unfortunately, as they did lose a couple players. They picked themselves up some points, just as Rochester were able to. As they clean out the final player from Midwestern now. So Rochester have that northern side to themselves. What just happened? What?
Yeah, it looks like Norwich might have tried to push down, and they run right into UCF. So there goes Norwich. As circle does pop, it's going to go back towards the south again. Looks like Cal started to creep up a little bit close to Southeastern. They're going to pull back and maybe do their gatekeeping from a little bit further away here. RIT, meanwhile, also finished off the last player from Midwestern. So RIT, their journey in the blue finally at an end here as they remain 3 strong, but they've got to figure out how they want to get into this next circle, as Concordia in a really nice spot to do a little gatekeeping here.
This is why it's such a dangerous circle. If you're not inside, in the center, early on in the game, then you are in trouble. And Rochester are about to find that out the hard way, as Concordia are going to be absolutely lighting them up. Oh, insane shots coming out from Pluis there over on towards, from Flashy on towards Iceman with the mini spam. Very impressive there, is now down on the south. It looks like Cincinnati are going to be taking a little bit of damage as well, getting caught up from Crimson. So with only 2 players left up, it's going to be rough here. It's a lot of big damage coming out. Concordia know that more players have to rotate through, but they realize they're not inside circle. There's limited compounds. They're going to hop inside those vehicles and start making a move as soon as possible. Over on the eastern side, however, if we can hop on board with that for a minute, we do actually see Southeastern going to be making a huge push on towards Berkeley. Mitchy boy getting aggressive, but they don't realize that Beams is just laying prone right in front of them. Sanic gets the knock over on towards Mitchy now. So this is going to open it up. Beams is in a 1v2. It looks like he's almost ready to peek over now. If he does, this could be absolutely huge. Nade comes out. Will he be able to get the flush? It's a good nade, but somehow only taking a little bit of damage here. So Frodo and Mitchy both going to be down low. Beams takes down one. Mitchy going to be holding the same position. Chaotic gets the second, and there's no way now that the UC Berkeley can really defend against that, not realizing they had a player to them so close. It's a rough way for them to go now.
Beams is absolutely nuts here. We'll finish off the Cowboys. Meanwhile, RIT rotates from where they were all the way in the northeast. They're going all the way to the south. And it looks like they've run into... Who is that they've run into all the way down there? That's going to be St. Ambrose. And now they got to turn around, figure out a new plan of attack here. As the circle has collapsed. And again, NC State looking pretty good. And Concordia, of course, looking pretty good. UCF and Southeastern, meanwhile, on that eastern side, look like they may run into each other here eventually.
Oblivion is playing sneaky now, but with Rochester over, sorry, not Rochester, that must be the mini-map that's bugged, but Oblivion is playing very sneaky right now, and this could punish Florizona here, as they both only have one player up each, so it's pretty much going to come down to a 1v1, and it's a question of will they be able to hear each other now as C working their way up the hill.
Ooh, I like the low wrap here from UCF. Big Bud Judy and Nomad Wrath taking the low ground, but looks like Southeastern just going to go and crash the compound. So UCF might be able to spot out Pluis here if they have a nice line of sight onto it. But it looks like Pluis is going to remain safe for the time being. New circle does pop and it goes just pretty much dead center. So Southeastern looking very nice. NC State doesn't have to move just yet. RIT and UBC, though, might run into each other here soon. Okay, Pluis finally gets spotted out.
Yeah, Pluis is going to get caught out by Span Cargo here. Unfortunately, she's not quite able to finish the job as he was just able to get behind that ridge in time. We'll be able to get the heal off. UCF going to lose Oogie Boogie, but they don't realize that UCF have players going all the way up to the north to get a flank onto this. And Pluis is going to find that out the hard way. Is the headshot going to be able to connect from Nomad Wrath? Not going to be able to get the knock yet, but doing some big damages. Actually, Hershey from Rochester going to be making a push over on towards UBC. Nothing too much going on there right now, though, as SC, they're going to be in a rough position, especially with UCF, making a big push. They realize they have to fight their way into zone, so the sooner they do it, the better for them here. Chaotic doing his best to keep eyes onto that ridge, but the third party coming out from Concordia is going to make it rough here. Beams with big SLR shots, but not enough for the time being. Ult shot coming out from Big Butt Judy here, so impressive start to the fight here for UCF.
It took them a little bit, but they did get that opening down off the nice little Car 98 shot. That's going to force Southeastern to pull back into their compound, at least for the time. Well, actually, I take that back. Looks like Beam's still interested in getting out here and getting involved. He's got a few smokes to work around.
Yeah, he wants to get aggressive. I mean, we saw this earlier when he was just laying prone in front of UC Berkeley, just trying to get aggressive onto them. He's a confident player, and we've seen that he can clean up those fights. So, providing that they don't have info on exactly where he is, there's definitely the possibility he could do some big damage. But Span Cargo's going to be able to spot him out, connects with the SLR shots, but once again, she's not quite able to finish. Beam's just able to break LOS. More shots engages now. NC State going to be getting eliminated all the way up to that northern side, as now Beam's getting knocked. Bolt shot coming out from Big Bud Judy, not enough to connect, however. Now Southeastern going to be on the back foot, doing what they can to play this hard cover, but is it going to be enough? As we saw Concordia picking up a couple kills up to the north, they've been able to clean up that fight, as Cincinnati just trying their best to hold this building.
Gotta give credit where credit is due. Well, this push, we wait to see how this push plays out here. Edge running around, SAU. Still one. Oh no, you can't go for that res, dude. You hear the footsteps. You know what's going on. All right, SAU still trying to keep it going, but Edge not giving up on it yet. It's not going to matter. King Nando and Dense Plains will finish it off. But I wanted to give credit where credit is due. UBC, as a duo, crashed the NC State compound and actually won the 2v3 without taking a single. I don't think either of them went down. So a really, really nice push coming out of those two.
Very impressive indeed. You got to give him huge credit. You know, confidence in a game like PUBG can be huge. You know, when teams often become kind of complacent with their compound. They don't see themselves getting crashed, especially when they see, oh, there's only 1 or 2 players remaining from a team. They become complacent, and then if you play like UBC did there and you play extremely confident, you just catch them off guard sometimes, and that's scarier than seeing, you know, a top tier player in the kill feed just having a player W keying you when you're not expecting it.
Yeah, I mean the comp. In fairness to NC State, I mean the compound itself is kind of a pain to hold here. As we see, UBC will finish off SAU as UBC continues to collect points here, but now they've got a little bit of a bigger problem to deal with. As it looks like Concordia has decided that they want to push in here. Cruzy with 5 kills already, though.
I like the way that Concordia haven't overcommitted to this. They heard the shots coming out, which definitely made them interested. They wanted to peek up, but they've realized they have to push out completely in the open if they want to make a push onto British Columbia here. So they are just going to wait and play that ridge and see exactly how the circle shifts. But I think our focus really should be over on this eastern side as we still see UCF making a push over on towards southeastern. 2 players left up from them. Crop all the way down to the south with Hershey for Rochester. So they could end up doing some big damage once they hear this fight open up in probably just a matter of seconds now, as Chaotic and Spirit just going to be holding these angles as best they can, trying to hold like a little window in the hopes of connecting with a head, but UCF not wanting to give anything away now as they just slowly work their way into this compound to get themselves that hard cover. And now it opens up. Chaotic connects on towards Span Cargo. She goes down. 3 players left up for UCF as Oogie Boogie going to be returning some fires. Sanic also getting taken low now. So UCF are the aggressors here and want to capitalize onto this, but they have to be careful because Rochester are going to be down to the south working their way in.
Crop still hadn't found himself a line of sight just yet. He's also waiting for Hershey to come over the top and maybe give him a little bit of support before they end up getting the res onto Span Cargo. Chaotic tries to come out with a flank, but he misses. Doesn't get the down on the shots. He'll get that one, though. Nomad Wrath goes down. Now here you go. RIT's getting involved.
Oh, what a way to redeem yourself after a spray like that, being able to pre-fire the doorway. Returns fire over towards Crop, but is it going to be enough? Is Big Butt Judy going to be making a push? The smoke is the only thing providing cover for Chaotic here as he's back inside the building. He's got an SK in his hand. He knows his barrel's out of ammo and he's not in a safe enough position to reload. As Span Cargo, she's going to push in and quickly clean up Southeastern. They pick themselves up the points off of that fight now, but as the circle shifts, they have to move out of this hard cover, and Rochester are going to be punishing them as over on the western side. Now UBC opening up over on towards Concordia, going to be able to pick themselves up a knock.
Let's see what Concordia decides to do here. UBC can't really push out on that knock, unfortunately. You'd love to be able to get yourself at least in throwable range, but it's just too dangerous, too open to really go for that. So Concordia is able to get the res onto Morns. They'll be back up to 4 strong. UCF, meanwhile, taking shots down onto that. Your RIT is going to pull off of UCF, continue their rotation. They're just going to wrap it around to the south side, see if they can find a different way to get in. Middle of this circle is just completely empty, and it's really just a question of who can find the lines on who first.
I gotta say, it may not look like it, but I really do think Concordia have the best position here. UCF are gonna have to move all the way down this hill, and granted, they have some trees, but if Concordia just lay low for a minute, as the zone forces UCF in, then they could do some big damage here and pick off some kills where UCF is just gonna be completely out in the open, as Wrath actually gonna be taking some shots over towards Concordia's. UCF, I said it, they're forced down the hill. They've got a couple smokes, but is it going to be enough? Is Flashy going to be able to flush out Oogie Boogie after sneak attack getting the knock? 3 kills already for UCF. So they are starting to come alive in a way we haven't really seen so far today. So I'm really happy for them here. Let's see if this gives them the confidence boost that they need. Nomad Wrath going to be able to get a knock over on towards Flashy. After taking a lot of blue damage, Sneak Attack returns it. Concordia now just absolutely punishing Can Cargo and Span Cargo. Big Butt Judy just going into that zone, laying prone, try to stay safe for the time being as the circle shifts up to the northwest.
That's good stuff from Sneak Attack. He got the, you saw his buddy go down, but instead of immediately going for that res, he read the situation, knew that UCF was going to use that knock as an opportunity to try to make their way further down the hill, and instead of going for the res, Sneak Attack instead going for the knock and the damage onto UCF. So they end up getting the res and a kill to go along with it. They make sure they stay 4 up for this circle. We'll see what these duos can do. Span Cargo, Big Butt Judy probably in the worst case scenario here, although RIT not looking a whole lot better either.
Yeah, RIT just going to have to completely crest down the hill. UBC are already looking in the direction after they already traded some DMR shots. So they're going to be keeping an eye out, and Rochester should be able to play this tree for a little bit of cover, but it's a question of how far in does this ridge go. They should be able to at least make it into circle, but as Big Butt Judy is going to be getting caught up over on that eastern side by not only Concordia, but also by UBC, it's going to be big for them. As actually Span Cargo trades out the knock over on towards Flashy, so Concordia do have a player knocked. They will be able to pick up Big Butt Judy with, was that a Winchester I just saw?
I just laughed at that. Culpepper is running the Winnie right now with 7 rounds. You'll love to see it here as Concordia. I think they're feeling themselves here. I think they're feeling pretty good about things. As Span Cargo will get spotted and taken out by Sneak Attack. And now Concordia has pretty much the whole circle that can really work around here. They know exactly where UBC is. They probably have an idea of where RIT might be. So really we'll just see them reposition around this and see who can get the opening knocks.
Yeah, this is rough for pretty much every team now, as the dot is going to center up. No real team has a strong position over it. Concordia could potentially flank out to the east, but as soon as they do that, then UBC are going to start moving in and start punishing them. So the sooner that Concordia flank out to the east, which appears that they are doing with Flashy and Sneak Attack, the better for right now, as the zone is going to start closing in. I'm really interested to see how UBC play this, because they are going to have to push out in the open, and Morns is ready for it. He's holding that side angle, just waiting for the cross. The smokes will come out, but that's actually going to draw the attention of Rochester, if anything. So they just start laying down long-range fire. Crop does get returned. Morns takes the knockdown on towards Few now. Cruzy takes down Hershey. So only one player up from UBC and one player from Rochester. MK shots coming out, but they're hitting the dirt. This is rough now for Concordia. The zone is going to be on them. Cruzy will be getting spotted out. Morn's able to pick that one up. Hershey getting flushed out by zone. Is Crop going to be the last one up for Rochester, but it's not going to be enough. As no surprise, Sneak Attack cleans it up. 11 kills for Concordia. Yet another chicken dinner.
2 in a row, 5 overall out of, what is it, 7 games?
It's 4 or 5 overall, I think. Yeah, that's insane.
I think they're feeling pretty good right now.
I mean, when you saw that Winnie come out, you knew that they were feeling themselves.
Yeah, but he's also got 0. He's got 0 kills. Like, come on. If you're gonna run the Winnie, like I want to see some Winnie kills here. I don't want to see you just flushing down players with the Winnie here. You know, like let's see you pull some long range Winnie shots out.
Well,
I don't know if there's anybody left to kill. Sneak Attack just killing everybody, though.
Yeah, good. I mean, Sneak Attack, he is a fragger. Everyone knows it. Everyone who watches his streams, watches him in comp, you know he is an absolute fragger, and he is just tearing up this lobby right now. And I don't want to say carrying, because you know, that would kind of downplay the amount of impact that the rest of his team are having, but I mean, he's carrying Concordia to first place right now.
Yeah, they're quite comfy. They're quite comfy there in first place. Got to give a shout out as well to RIT making that up to second place there, despite having only 3 players and only getting about 3 kills. But UBC also had a really, really rough go of it in the mid game, but somehow managed to salvage it off of some great individual play there from Cruzy and Few, and you know, being able to take over that shack from from NC State in the 2v3 ended up being huge.
Yeah, a very impressive game from them, but I think we're going to take a short break before we go into our final game of the evening. We're going to be back on a wrangle for game number 4 of week 2 of season 7 of Collegiate PUBG. We will see you guys in a couple minutes.
All right, guys, we are back for one final game of the evening. We are here for one more time on Angle. Let's see if the Concordia train can keep on rolling, Chunks.
Of Concordia won a game? I didn't notice.
Oh no, yeah, you might have slipped your screen there, yeah, but yeah, they've been doing it so quietly, you know.
That'll probably explain the 109 points that they managed to get in just 7 games. You know, nearly double the points of the second place team.
That will do it for sure. 109 points, man, in 7 games.
I'm just blown away. I am blown away. I mean, Concordia have just been playing out of their minds. Like, a lot of teams are really going to struggle to try and catch up with this now. But, I mean, never say never. It's PUBG. Anything can happen, especially in a lobby like this where, you know, maybe some players that...
You know, the crazy part about it is, honestly, to me, it's not just kills. They've got 56 kills, 109 points. They got 56 kills, 53 placement points. 53 placement points.
I mean, a lot of teams, they only go with one or the other. But Concordia, they're not happy with just getting placement. It feels to me like they intentionally put themselves on the edge of the zone just so they can fight their way in and farm more kill points to then get those placement points as well. So, I mean, a very well-rounded team, you have to say it is. I mean, we're on a wrangle now. It's final game of the evening. Any predictions, any hot takes as we see this first circle pop?
Well, I will say that it looks like Yasnaya is getting 2 teams dropping on it. So, and then Lippo as well, and then Milta as well. So, hot dropping somehow is in season right now in the CBA.
I mean, you know what? A lot of people complain when they see hot drops, but I think it is a viable strategy. If you have a team that's maybe 3 or 4 places ahead of you, and you really want to get that placement, you hot drop them, you take those kill points, and you deny them any kill points throughout the game, then it's a huge strat, but it's a question of how viable is it really, as we do see the first knock is going to be coming out. Norwich here, going to be getting pushed by Ontario, so Oblivion just getting ready to WK in. Cake with the shotgun, second player as well. But, I mean, he's only got a double barrel, 2 bullets off, is able to get the knock as SA Dude takes down Cake. Norwich going to be going for a reposition as they realize all of these players are going to be stacked up inside one building.
There you go. You asked me if I had any predictions. I predict a very, very slow late game because we're not going to have that many teams because these teams are going to be fighting it out at the very beginning here. As we watch this fight go on, there's also, looks like, well, nothing's really started off. Oh, yep, fight over at Shelter. So a number of teams still running into each other. Looks like ECF has managed to ditch Yasnaya, though, so they're at least going to avoid this for the time being. Any early game nonsense.
This is interesting here from Concordia. They've decided to go on split loot, prison, and shelter, but it feels like Midwestern are just sending all of their players in to take this 2-man. I feel like it's kind of unnecessary at this point, if I have to be brutally honest. It feels like Midwest, sure, you lost a player, but I mean, just move out of this. Try and, you know, loot up first, because at the moment, Colsey is pushing in with the UMP. I mean, as you said, you know, we saw last game, late game, we had a Vector, so I guess the SMG meta might be on its way, but do you really want to be pushing this with a UMP as opposed to a barrel or something with insane high DPS?
I don't think they do. And it looks like Midwestern's actually trying to get out of here. I think Fizzle giving a little cover for Delta and Colsey as they make their way out of the southern tunnel. And do they have any vehicles? That doesn't look like they do. So that might be part of the problem there. But
it's going to be rough, especially with such an open area. Only one UAS, and that's all the way over at the junction. So, I mean, honestly, if Concordia have themselves a scope here, they could pick up even more kills, grow that lead even more. Absolutely insane, I have to say.
Well, that being said, Midwest is not necessarily a pushover, right? As far as teams in this lobby go, that's a pretty scrappy group there with Fizzle, Delta, and Colsey remaining alive. So, you know, if I'm Concordia, I'd take my kill and I'm happy. I'm cool. I'm chilling. I'll just get out with some shelter loot and go regroup with the rest of the boys and figure out how we want to make our way into this next circle. Because, as we saw, it is going hard to the west over to the Gatka Fields. And what do you know, 5 minutes into the game, we still have so many teams that haven't even made their way in yet.
I mean, when you have teams landing around you, you really do have to be very careful in terms of those rotates. You never know when a vehicle is just going to be getting camped and you hop in it thinking that you're safe to move, and then a 4-man pops up and you lose a player early. So it is about being cautious in that early game as far as possible. As teams finally starting to make a bit of a rotate in now. We do see Alabama. They're in a bit of a stalemate with Southeastern. Ginger Cheese is going to be holding this window. It's Chaotic just watching it. He hears the footsteps outside. He has an M16. Is that going to be enough up against this AK that Chaotic has here?
I'm going to say no. But then again, I'm never really been a huge AK fan. As what is going on here? Did they just shoot at his own player? Or no. Okay. I'm not sure what's going on. There's a little bit of confusion there. Maybe as like Alabama does get everybody in there. Pluis will get the original down. Kaozu has gone down. Ginger Jesus slowly burning, stays alive though. Prater gonna go for the res, but Chaotic meanwhile is just looking for something to feast on.
Yeah, this is big here from Southeastern, showing very early aggression, trying to get those opening knocks. Even though maybe they don't have the best guns in this scenario, they pushed it in. Lewis takes down one, flushes him out, and there's 2 points nice and early for Southeastern. Alabama, Ginger Jesus, he is going to be low. He's going to try his best to heal up, but I think that Southeastern have a good idea of exactly where he is. CMB is going to be across the street, though, has himself an SKS, so he will be able to get a side angle to prevent this push. However, Sanic is going to be right next to him, looking to punish. Chaotic actually able to hit the bolt shot on towards CMB, so one player left up here from Alabama. It's going to be Ginger Jesus. He's just laying prone, and I think his days are potentially numbered now. Double shots, gives away that info, takes the knock onto one, but not going to be enough. It shows that, you know, that burst fire M16 is nothing to be joked about. It's actually Midwestern. We see they've moved their way out of the shelter, and now they're starting to third party over on towards this knock here, trying to pick up an early game point.
Yeah, unfortunately, Bama looking a little bit outclassed here right now so far in this lobby, as they are just running into problems left and right. Colsey will go down. So some nice shooting there from Southeastern. Should be able to get that res, and that's going to put the brakes on this Midwestern push for the time being, I think. We'll see what the rest of Southeastern decides to do as the blue comes in. Norwich rotating just off to the north of Milta. Might distract Midwestern here a little bit, unless that's a visual bug. Nope. They're actually there.
They are in fact doing it. I respect it. I think they've maybe assumed that Milta's going to be clear, but they're just going to be driving straight in towards Midwestern now. And I mean, can Midwestern maybe pick anything up? They actually decide to hit the road, which makes it a little harder for Midwestern to be able to engage with any shots. Now they're forced to just take those long range. And honestly, surprisingly, I think that Norwich might be able to get out of this safely, making the decision to avoid those two buildings next to the roadblock, and hey, it worked out for them.
And decisions saved their life, at least for the time being. Now, still have to deal with Southeastern and off of Milta, and what's going on here?
I don't know exactly what happened. It looks like maybe Kid crashed into a tree, and then somehow his teammate blew him up.
Well, you know, things happen.
Yep, it's unfortunate. Definitely going to be frustrating for them. But I mean, last game of the day, at least they can, you know, maybe get off to bed early. You know, get some rest. Come on, who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? This is esports right here. And, oh, that's going to be rough. Look how hard down to the south it is. So much water in. I mean, not going to see a milli zone, I'm sure. But I mean, if this shifts hard to the south, then it's going to make a lot of unplayable terrain for these teams, and force a lot of teams to be making early game fights.
Unless you're going to run right into UCF, or rather the other way around, is UCF trying to make their rotation from the north side. Looks like they barely get out of that spin. Cargo had about a P left. Somehow manages to survive.
Yeah, that's a really rough push there for UCF. Realistically, it's not even that strong of a position to really send in for. Maybe it was just a case that they didn't have eyes on it. They were going to use it to scout their way in further, but it's unfortunate to be taking so much damage, not only to your players, but also to your vehicles, just for a scout position, really. This is why it's very important to try and get a player out there early to play as that scout and get the info onto these compounds, make sure that they are clear. It's actually some shots going to be engaging down on the south, just next to the berry pier. Has kind of come to a stalemate as most teams will be deciding to back off, but it actually looks like UCF are going to be pushing down there as well, so we could end up seeing 4 teams on top of each other. Berkeley, Florizona, and I believe that's Norwich, right?
Norwich and yellow there. Heading off to the south. Cal really wants this compound, though. This Spear Fork will get one. We'll get the flush, but Cal going to clean that up. Mixter now the last one up here for Florizona, hiding inside the building. We'll see if he can maybe take somebody out from Cal. Does Cal actually want the compound, or do they want the hills?
I mean, it looked like Mitchy Boy maybe pushed his way down there to try and get the compound. It's very unfortunate because Frodo actually accidentally flushed out Mitchy Boy here, so Berkeley are going to be down to a 3-man. Looks like they're hopping into vehicles. I'm not sure what the play is here is. Oh no, NTSU also going to be knocking teammate with a vehicle, as now Berkeley just sending it into this compound. They want to completely take control now.
Well, it makes sense. The compound does get a lot of love late game. And this NC State down probably could have happened at a better time, considering they're still trading shots back and forth with St. Ambrose. They managed to get Crimson 1K. And now they're going to find the down to the line claw. Strike coming out. SMU really lost track of where NC State was.
Oh, St. Ambrose, they're trying to work their way up the hill to safety, but they don't realize that Winlow's actually going to be up there. Takes down Nando. Lod going to get flushed out as well, and one player left up here for SAU, and it looks like it's going to be over pretty quickly, as now St. Ambrose going down in 14th position. The game for the evening. NC State hopefully going to be able to get the res off and work their way in circle, because they have been in the blue for a little bit now, and when this next circle pops, it's going to start chunking.
Yeah, it's not going to feel great. We're down to just 41 alive and waiting on Circle 2 to finish collapsing here. As we in on Mixter and how he's holding down. He does manage to take out Magnum. Oh my God, Mixter. Oh,
it was so close. He had 7 bullets left, but he went for the reload. I don't blame him, but I mean, if he held that for just a second longer, he would have been able to clean up. But Berkeley, they're going to be losing a couple players now in that compound. They should be able to get most of the reses off, picking themselves up some nice early game points. And look at this circle, man. Oof. It's shifted hard down to the south. This is what I was worried about here. When there's just this much water in the zone and this few compounds, this is going to be a very hectic phase now as this circle closes in. With team just scrapping out, trying to fight for every little bit of cover they can grab.
You see Cincinnati trying to send out RIT, who's in the middle of sending it. They send it right in the middle of the Norwich compound. Take a few shots back on themselves already. No significant damage out just yet. Evans didn't make something happen here. There he goes. He's going to find one. He'll get the flush as well. But Hershey got the nice grenade in on Bloody Motions. And Webington now down to all by himself here, as Iceman actually making some big plays.
Yeah, this is super rough here. It's actually UCF up to the north have been third partying onto it. They've been distracted by Cincinnati, but not for much longer, as now Cincinnati going to be getting cleaned out very easily here for UCF. They should be able to get the res off, but I mean, UCF, they're picking up some points from those kills. They third party down onto that fight on the south, which made it rough here, meaning that Norwich only have 1 player left standing inside this compound. Rochester in a similar boat with Iceman as the solo player, so definitely not going to be too easy for them. As now
and LSU has collapsed on Cal.
Yeah, I mean, very, very unfortunate here for UC Berkeley, as they did manage to clean up those fights early. They will be able to take down one, tries to get the flush, but doesn't look like it's going to be enough, as Big Penguin is going to be resable. Frodo, the last one up here for UC Berkeley, and he's just going to have to try and fight with everything he has.
29 alive, Circle 3, no big deal.
No, it's not. It's not like this is a tournament or anything. It's not like it's not like they're playing for a prize pool. Oh no! What a nade coming out there from Oblivion, taking out 2 of them here from Midwestern. I have to say, as much as I love Midwestern's players and I think they really have a potential, I feel like they're really not delivering in the way that they should. We mentioned earlier they have some absolutely insane players, but currently all the way down in 7th position. I really expected them to be higher up in that leaderboard, maybe in that top 5, even top 3 in some cases. So we'll see. This might not be their game, but I definitely think they have potential later on in the event. As only, yeah, they're out in the blue, and it's going to be rough for them.
Yeah, they are very much stuck. Now, that being said, they did manage to get the kills onto Oblivion or onto OC. So, if nothing else, they managed to get some points before eventually going down to the blue, which is
it's surprising that they're still in Pachinki, bear in mind. We're in phase 4 right now, and they are still in Pachinki. Colsey just healing. He's the final one up. I'm not sure what the play was there, but it's an unfortunate way to go.
Fight. You get caught up in a fight if you can't pull off of it. I mean, that particular compound that they were in too is, I mean, it's kind of hard to pull away from a fight on that if somebody's pressuring you super hard. So, I don't know. We'll see if Colsey can get in. He's got 39 bandages, and that's about it.
Yeah, I hate to be the one who says it, but I don't think it's happening. GG Colsey, at least you guys managed to clean off that fight, but it's not going to be enough as Midwestern going out in 10th position now. So we're into our top 10 teams going in to the circle, and it's going to be rough here for NCSU as they're going to be getting absolutely lit up from UCF. I love the fact that UCF are definitely getting more aggressive now as the night progressive. They maybe didn't have the strongest first week, but now they are just going hard, and they realize that they have that fragging ability, and they're starting to show it.
Oh my goodness. 4 men in a shack.
This is what you expect off this circle, though. It's a rough one. Is Nomad Wrath actually going to send this? Looking at the map, Nomad Wrath is actually flanking all the way around. Is he?
Oh my goodness.
No. Surely he isn't.
If he stops...
He's pulled up. He's pulled up behind the vehicle. He's down behind the vehicle. He's got the nade. Is that going to connect? It's certainly looking close. Oh! Inside the door, but he's still able to take down 1. It's now down to 3 players here for... Oh, no. The nade gets traded out. Nomad Wrath will go down, but this actually gives UCF, the opportunity to push onto this if they wanted to. There's Winlow going to be getting hit from Berkeley over on that side angle. So that final player for Berkeley is now going to be coming alive and taking a couple shots. Up to the north, we actually have Concordia. They're going to be looking for the third party here as well. So NCSU going to be in such a rough position now. This is the risk you take, 4-man in a shack. As much as it's nice to think that you're able to defend from any pushes with ease, if just 1 grenade connects, it opens up your defenses all the way. You have to scramble to try and get the res. So Concordia using the vehicles for cover, throwing down some smokes, but I mean, as this circle is getting ready to shift, those vehicles could be done.
So trying to pull it out of range for the time being, keep those tires safe. Meanwhile, Frodo is going to pick up HDB, so LSU down to just 2 as they maybe overstepped their position inside this compound. Nice grenade going to come out. Not going to be enough to get the down, though. Frodo just dancing around inside the smokes while Garodan take a few shots in there. Not going to find anything.
I mean, I love what Frodo's doing. He played this so passively. He didn't get over aggressive. He just waited. He was sneaking around that compound, and now he's managed to pick up a couple points off of it, you know? He may not be able to completely finish, but I mean, he's in 9th position. He's definitely survived for a while, and picking up those kill points is huge. It's just a matter of now there's nowhere really inside the compound that he can safely play, with LSU just creeping all around, trying their best to spot him out as we get ready to see how this circle goes. And I don't know, I have a bad feeling it's going to be a rough one, and it shifts all the way up to the field. So depending on which teams you support in here, if maybe you're a Concordia fan, then this is going to be amazing as they just got that circle. But, you know, for those solo players down in the south, like Iceman and Webbington, they're going to be in a rough position trying to work their way across the street and up to this hill.
Yeah, circle could have definitely been a lot worse. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on Southeastern and UCF right now as they just continue to take shots over the top. NC State trying to advance a little bit further into the fields. Looks like Concordia Also doing a little bit of repositioning on their end. Keep eyes on UBC as well. British Columbia outside of the circle going to have to make their way in. And as you mentioned, those two snakes could be real influential here at the end if they manage to take advantage of somebody.
I mean, it's going to be a rough one. As soon as these two snakes start engaging, I'm sure that UCF are going to completely turn around and focus all their fire and quickly clean it off. But if for some reason, which there is definitely a possibility, these snakes don't spot each other crossing over, they could absolutely ruin UCF. As UCF maybe kill one of them, see it's an insta, not expect a second player, and then the second player just does so much damage. But we do see Iceman. He's going to work his way up this hill, and I have a feeling that Webington might be able to spot this and potentially go for the kills here.
Well, Iceman does manage to make it. Webington, I think, did spot it out, but not taking the shots at it. So he's just going to use that information. Span Cargo keeps looking back over in this direction. Like, she knows that there's something that might be coming up from behind here, but every time she takes her eyes off that's when they make their move. So here comes Webington. We'll see if he's got a grenade in hand.
Yeah, we do have to bear in mind that it was Norwich and Rochester that were fighting down at this compound. UCF started the third party onto it as Webington pulls out the nade, tries to throw it, but Iceman, he heard the pin, pops out, connects with their headshot. Norwich eliminated in 9th, and now we're into the placement points at only 20 minutes into the game.
This man's ears were 100% on as his volume cranked up to 1,000. Heard that pin and cleaned it out. But here we go, UBC coming in from the south side, and UCF not looking in that direction at all. And the way the terrain is kind of around here, this is a pretty easy sneak up here for British Columbia.
Yeah, this is going to be rough here because Span Cargo, she was aware that there were players down to the south. So now that she's heard those shots come out from Iceman, that's the direction she's going to be locking in. I would be very surprised if she looks over to the west now, and look at this circle. It is horrible for these southern teams. It's really got to be a kill game for them now as UCF, they're taking a lot of long-range shots. They're going to give that info away to the teams that are sneaking up from behind, but, I mean, I'll focus right now. LSU, take down Flashy, take down Spirit. So, they are going to be picking themselves up some points here if they're able to get the flush. Only 2 players up from LSU. Frodo's going to be on the other side, this warehouse as well, so could ruin it for Concordia. But for the time being, Concordia have themselves a warehouse. They have all of their players up, even if one of them was just knocked. They are back up now, and teams are going to have to pretty much fight into them as they've arguably got the best cover in the entire circle right now.
Yeah, pretty gutsy push there from Concordia. Just hopping in their UASs and just sending it into this warehouse. They ends up paying off in a big way. UBC going to be wrapping around. They're going to find Big Butt Judy, and that's going to open things up onto UCF. Let's see if Oogie Boogie has a nice little line of sight here. Takes a few shots, not going to find anything just yet. Ooh, UCF in trouble, man.
UCF, they took a lot of shots. This gave BC the opportunity to start making a move, but it seems like they maybe caught the wrong player. It may have been a solo player, but as they push into Big Bud Judy, they realized that there are in fact players behind. And as Jack got a shotgun on his back.
I believe that is a shotgun. Double barrel. 2 barrels and 0 Fs to give. As Jack pushes in here, his teammates are going to go for this final kill. He finds Span Cargo, and that should be the kill for him. That's not getting rezzed.
No, that's rough for him. He connected with the headshot, but Span Cargo actually went down to zone. He took it down to like 1 HP, but she actually went down to zone there, so no points going to be coming out. That's really rough for him now.
Unfortunate.
He denied a little there.
Well, Iceman has managed to make his way in, and he's going to get a free kill off of Spirit Sanic. Is RIT somehow, some way, still staying in this thing with the solo play from Iceman.
I mean, Rochester, they're one of the top tier teams for a reason. Iceman has been absolutely popping off so far, but it looks like he's in a rough position as he does get caught out over the northwestern side. Is able to break LOS with that hill, but I do wonder, will Concordia maybe have an idea like, hey, Why were these guys over on the west shooting down to the south? Maybe there's someone coming, but I think with a fight like this, they're definitely going to be preoccupied. As now Rochester getting eliminated by Beams with the Vector. I'm telling you, man, SMGs, they're making a comeback.
Maybe so. Maybe so. Beams is trying to make me a believer here. Got the Vector M24 combo. Let's see that. And oh my goodness, that wide open field for your ending. NC State, I guess they're looking like geniuses now for sending 4 inside of a shack.
And you know the biggest thing here for NC State is they have vehicles. Now, they have this shack, which, don't get me wrong, it's hardcover, but anyone who knows this map well knows there's a little bit of a ridge over on the northern side, and it looks like that's what Winlow's going for. Is Winlow just going to send that vehicle in and take whatever cover he can and just hope that everyone's going to be able to clean up this fight. Is now Garu, he tries to hold that goal with the Vector again, able to take down one. Big Penguin going to be the last player up from LSU now, and coming in from all sorts of players, takes down Fluids now, gets the knock, the flush almost comes out as he hits a couple extra bullets. LSU trying their best to play for some kills here, only 1 kill between the entire team, so he needs to go for the flush as much as possible. Oh no, UCF also going to be coming into this as well now.
Let's go. Let's go. Oogie Boogie does get spotted. They go out. Frodo, meanwhile, has just been chilling right here in between the middle of these 2 crates. LSU is done, but CTX now has to deal with Southeastern. Frodo just biding his time for the time being.
I mean, Concordia heard these shots. You see how Sneak Attack's immediately repositioning. They realize that Southeastern have the zone on the tail, so they pre-fire the Molotovs down to make sure that they can't actually get the jump on them. Concordia want to catch these players off guard, which seems like it's going to be working. As Flashy takes down Beams, only Chaotic's going to be standing now right behind the wall. Flashy wants to throw that Molotov, make sure he can't use that wall for cover. It's going to work out as he's forced to flank out wide to the left. Sneak Attack picks that up, but Chaotic could go down. Sorry, Concordia could lose a player to zone now as it does start to close in. We are in a 4v4 fight with Frodo laying prone as a solo, but it looks like Concordia are about to clean that. Oh no, there's a wall in between them, so Concordia doesn't clean it up just yet. I spoke too soon. No. Sneak Attack hops onto the wall. Down go UC Berkeley.
Some awareness right there coming out from Concordia. Knowing to check that spot. That spot almost always has a little sneaky snig hiding down there, and Concordia make sure they flush him out before figuring out what to do with this next circle, which has gone even more so towards the fields. But they have lots of vehicles to work with here.
Yeah, zone center's up in the center, okay? They have vehicles to work with. They can crash them over into the hay bales, and there is a little bit of a dip. But NCSU have been smart about this. They've already sent players out to the south. They're trying their best to hold these angles, knowing that CTX are probably going to head far down to the south to play that dip. Pepper getting knocked out by Arctic with the SLR now. Ben trying to take out one more, which he does. Only 2 players left up now from Concordia. It's Sneak Attack trying to return the fire, but NC State are just raining down fire. All players are inside circle, but only 2 left up from CTX. They're both going to be playing this new app because I'm sure that they expose everything. Big start from now, just trying to pin down these 2 players. Orms and Sneak Attack, the last 2 are both going to be low HP. Is now a big split coming out from NC State to try and get an angle on this. Willow going to be pushing up on towards them as CTX is going to get their vehicle blown up. They have no cover whatsoever now. Regime's doing so much damage, but still no knocks coming out. Sneak Attack down. 1 player left up. He's on 75 HP. So it shouldn't take too long if they're able to connect with a couple headshots. Arctic Wolf flushes out Sneak Attacks. Morn's going to be the last one up, and the nades coming in close. And 1 HP, I think it might be over as the grenade connects. NC State picking up the 10-kill chicken dinner for our final game of the evening.
What a weird, wild, wonderful final game that we got to see there. You're talking about the team that was 4 deep in a shack from like circle 2, and they end up getting the win. I mean, what a great game there for NC State. I mean, they clutch it out. They get 10 kills to go along with it. You can't be mad at them for that.
And I every game it feels like I talk about them, but can you blame them? Concordia yet again, 2nd place. Like, they are consistently placing in the top 3, and it's amazing, and that's just going to stretch out their lead even more now. NC State definitely going to be happy with that, though, because they were in 4th, so that would definitely put them up to at least 2nd now. So a good game for them indeed.
Yeah, playing catch up to Concordia right now is looking like a pretty daunting task, because they don't have bad games. Every single game, it seems like they're not only getting a nice little stack of kills, but they always seem to find a way to make it to the very late game, no matter what. So kudos to them. Congratulations, of course, to NC State for getting that win and getting a nice little chunk of points to kind of add to their total, which they were in 4th place with 60. So that should, I think, jump them up to 2nd, depending on how Southeastern and RIT did. Now, we saw, obviously, Southeastern and RIT were there at the end, but not too bad, not too bad.
Yeah, definitely strong games coming out for them, but Concordia, I would have to say they are our winners for the evening again. You know, I think that made it 5 chicken dinners for them overall. Very impressive. Amazing game coming out there from NC State as well. Just camping in that shack and just trying their best to play out of it. Managed to hold off the push even after having a player knocked. So very impressive game for them indeed. As we're going to take a very short break before we get our final scores for the evening. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back in just a couple of minutes.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are here to wrap it up for the evening. We'll take a look at our leaderboards and tell you a little about some other stuff we have going on. Jonas, we got to see a nice little day of 4 games here, but once again, the song remains the same. Concordia still stepping up in a big way.
121 points in 8 games.
Easy.
I'm in shock, I have to say. You gotta say, though, all the other teams still playing their hearts out. NCSU, 80 points. Very closely followed by Southeastern with 78. So only 2 points difference there. It does start to trickle off after that point, but remember, there are 5 weeks of games. This is only week number 2. 4 games a day. It doesn't mean that, you know, these teams with maybe only like 10, 15 points, it doesn't mean that they can't make a comeback. There's still plenty of time for teams to be able to switch things up. I will have to say teams are going to have to start getting aggressive, though, on towards the top of the leaderboard. These teams that are maybe at the bottom who are playing a little bit more for placement, it feels like to me, they have to start fragging out. They have to get aggressive, showing that they can be dominant and taking control of these fights, which maybe puts these higher tier teams on the back foot a little bit. So when they see those names in the kill feed, they might be a little bit more wary when it comes to engaging them and being super confident with the fights, which it appears they are doing it.
Yeah, so nothing to say that you have to just, blind YOLO send it into every freaking situation, but you can also do some VOD review, take a look at some of these teams that, with maybe where they rotate, maybe where they like to drop, maybe do a little transition camping, and then see what you can get off of that, see what you can get for relatively low risk, high reward. Because as you said, if you're a team that's kind of sitting at the top of the leaderboard right now, and you have any designs on catching up to Concordia, it is, as you said, most likely going to have to be through kills. So trying to find situations where you can net yourself a few more extra kills for relatively free would go a long way.
Yeah, I mean, before we get off though, we've seen the leaderboards. No shockers, Concordia are doing well, but I do want to take a couple minutes to thank a couple of the organizations we're working with for collegiate PUBG. First of all, we want to give a huge shout out to Play for Pink. Check out playnacl.com to purchase one of their pink breast cancer awareness research hoodies. All of the profits will be donated to Play for Pink, a non-profit that aids in breast cancer research and awareness. And of course, not forgetting to thank NACL. They've been sponsoring the season, providing the top 8 teams with an invitation to the NACL Collegiate PUBG Grand Championship and $1,000 cash scholarship prize pool. Players in the NACL Collegiate PUBG Grand Championship will face off for an audition to play for the English Premier League's Wolverhampton Wanderers professional esports team, Wolves Esports PUBG division. If you guys want to find out more, make sure to visit playnacl.com for any upcoming collegiate tournaments, and make sure to follow them on Instagram and Twitter at playnacl. Not forgetting to shout out over our sponsors over at Sector 6. Huge thanks to them for providing some awesome jackets to the winning team and providing and being the official merch partner for collegiate PUBG.
Absolutely. Whole lot of good old boys there keeping this thing afloat and providing us for stuff to play for. So thank you once again so much to those sponsors. But I think that's going to wrap things up for today, Chunks. Outside of singing the praises of Concordia, is there anything else you want to throw in there at the end?
I mean, I don't want to say I don't want to push onto Concordia too much. I really just want to say thank you to all of these players for taking part, who've given us an amazing event so far, and still with 3 weeks to go, things are just going to get even more exciting. That middle of the leaderboard, it's very close together, and we could definitely see some shift up. Remember, we are looking at the top 8 teams that will move on to the Grand Championship. So, there's still anything to play for. One of these bottom teams could very easily take that top 8 position if they just have 1 or 2 strong days. But we'll be back next Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern, and the Monday after, and the Monday after that. So, if you guys want to stop by, see how things are going, make sure you do. And any last things to add, Paro?
I think that's going to do it for me, man. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out and letting us invade your personal space here on Twitch for the last couple hours. Hopefully, we see you back here next week for week 3 of the CBA. Until then, I've been Porosaurus, he's been Chunks, and thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.